Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's GETETHOS.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Chilly times, but lots of sunshine and light winds on this Wednesday afternoon. 42 for the high today. Tonight, partly cloudy, down to 25. On Thursday, sunshine, a chilly 40 degrees. Increasing clouds Thursday night, then Friday, clouds controlling 42. We've got a light rain mixed with wet snow at times Friday night and into Saturday morning. Fast in, fast out. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
How would you like to make no mortgage payments for 2 months? Are you tired of making minimum payments on high-interest credit cards? Is student loan repayment giving you the blues? Your home equity is at an all-time high. Use that equity to save hundreds every month. Call 314-567-GOLD now and give yourself a payment break. That's 314-567-GOLD. Or visit goldenoaklending.com. NMLS 114937.
Temperatures getting low, but demand remains high? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together millions of things for our planet. Resolve to recycle more. Recycle paper, bottles, and cans directly, and recycle old clothes by donating them. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
The Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
And welcome in. I'm Brian Recker, filling in for Annie Frey one more day here. I guess apparently you can still say Happy New Year, but this is the last day to say Happy New Year, according to Larry David. I guess he addressed this on one of the Curb Your Enthusiasms. Brad, are you still okay with saying Happy New Year, or do you feel like this is a little bit too far out to be mentioning that?
It depends on if I have talked to you or spoken to you since New Year's. So I'll do it I'll do it the whole week, and then after that, if I haven't spoke to you, then I won't say it anymore.
Yeah, so like Annie comes back and she gets to introduce herself to the audience again in 2024. She's allowed to say Happy New Year to the audience because she hasn't been on since then. That's like okay for her. That would be acceptable. Larry David says no, that is unacceptable.
Happy New Year.
It's a little late, frankly, for the Happy New Year's, you know?
Why? Just happened a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, that's too long. Statute of limitations.
Yeah.
It's kind of run out on the New Year. 3 days. Plenty.
3 days.
3 days is plenty. So you got January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That's your 3 days. Today's the 3rd day, meaning that today's the last day to be saying Happy New Year. I think there's something to that. It's almost like, I mean, can you say Merry Christmas? How far after Christmas can you say Merry Christmas? Like it basically day of and then afterward. It's kind of like, that's a little stretch, even a day after.
I'll give you the whole week. up until New Year's Eve.
Well, I think you can say Happy New Year before New Year, just like you can say Merry Christmas before Christmas. And after Christmas, you have a week until the next big holiday, essentially. So that's why you're looking forward by saying Happy New Year, and you're done with Christmas. And here in Michigan, the fire marshal for the state is already warning people, if you are still saying Merry Christmas and you got that real tree up, you got to get that thing down because it's a fire hazard by now. You probably had it up for 6 weeks and it's dry. We don't want this thing catching fire in your house, so get it out of there. So there is a statute of limitations on Christmas. Normally it's put your stuff down the weekend after and you're done saying Christmas. But some people pointed out the 12 days of Christmas means that we're still in the window of Christmas up until like the 6th or 7th. So I guess technically you can still be celebrating.
I don't even know when you start counting those 12 days.
No one does. It's a catchy song, and, we're not getting Lords of Leaping around here anymore.
I'm a little frustrated by that.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, you go into Walmart and you're like, where's all the Lords of Leaping? Like after Halloween, you go in and you look for all the discounted candy. I look for discounted Lords of Leaping. And really, where do you even find one of those anywhere? I mean, would you have to go online to Facebook Marketplace and saying I'm in search for a couple of Lords of Leaping? Or is it like an Uber service where you can rent them for a couple hours? And then again, what kind of job do they do? Do they show up in your house and they're just jumping around, leaping around? And do you want that? Because in my mind, I don't know what they are, but if I had to guess, it would be a bunch of guys in spandex and leotards.
Yeah.
And they would just be like, pantaloons, yeah, and they'd be wearing those ballerina type of shoes, with the no soles on them. So those are the type of things I would imagine. And then if that's true, then I mean, they don't just have those laying around for the fun of it. They're probably pretty expensive. I will not find them on discount at Walmart or Target or anywhere else, but I can say in my entire life, given that I've lived on this planet for as many years as I have, I've never once been offered a Lord of Leaping. And I don't know if I want to go to the Urban Dictionary and find out what some of the other meanings of that is. Is our guest on the line, Brad? I think maybe. This is a pretty exciting time for the St. Louis Battlehawks. Joining us now is the head coach, Anthony Becht. Thank you for coming on to 97.1 FM Talk.
You got it. Yeah, appreciate you. Happy New Year.
This is a very interesting time for the Battlehawks. They came off of the XFL, where they really lit the city of St. Louis on fire. You had the best crowds in the entire league. You had the recognition that St. Louis did it right, and this was basically the model market for all the other teams. Then there was some uncertainty because of COVID. Now we're in the merger stage, and they're planning ahead with St. Louis Battlehawks making the merger, being able to move forward. This is a very exciting time for the team, and I'm sure you're excited as well.
Oh, yeah, really excited about the merger and the possibilities of how this league now can grow, being one singular spring league throughout the year, and just excited to be back in St. Louis, the city, everything about it, the fan base. 2023 was awesome, and I just wanted to carry over to 2024. I want it to be great. I want more fans to come out. I really think there's a lot more fans that were intrigued, not quite sure, didn't get to try it out. I want them to talk to somebody about it because I know everybody had a great experience. And again, we had a really good team, and we're only going to make it better. I can't wait to roll out some of the new players and some of the players coming back. So it's going to be a really fun time and really a year for me, being year 2, got my feet wet last year, first time head coach. I want to win a championship. So we're going to do everything possible, not only the fact that the league is back and it's in St. Louis again, but to make sure this team raises their game up to win a championship for the city.
I guess the XFL was owned by wrestling. You would see the pictures of the McMahons, and you get the special guests that would come in. So is there a special suite reserved for The Rock every night?
You know what? His specials, he's probably got every game on 9 TVs at his house. He can't be everywhere, obviously, every single weekend. I'd love for him to come to St. Louis. I know with scheduling and the way our home games were pushed a little bit about 3 or 4 weeks into the season last year, he really wanted to be there opening day. So, listen, great ownership. Obviously, he He is one of the visual leaders, the guy that kind of everybody knows about. He really has a strong passion about what we're doing. And, of course, now Redbird Capital being the bulk owners at 50% and Fox at 50%, those are the two kind of titans that have come together and really now feel like they can deliver a long-term opportunity here with this with the UFL.
Yeah, so really, what does change? Are there anything that the fans will notice post-merger that'll be different to them?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they'll see 4 new teams, obviously, that have come over from the USFL, which now it's a USFL division. We'll play those teams, obviously, once a year. And then, I think, too, fans can be happy about our playoff structure. Divisional winners, obviously, will be in the playoffs. And then the next 2 teams will be the best records. So that bodes well for 2023. If that rule is intact, we would have been in the playoffs. Now that gets at least the 4 best teams, regardless of what division you're in. So really excited about those changes. There may be a rule or two that we may take from the USL versus what we had in the XFL. But, other than that, I really don't see much changing except teams, colors, and some new faces coming into town.
So what happens player-wise? Is there like a supplemental draft, considering that some teams are post-merger, some aren't? Are there new players to pick from? How do you make your roster from here on out?
Yeah, well, the bulk of our roster are strong nucleus of core players we picked up year 1 who did a fantastic job. We can secure the bulk of those guys. And, of course, we led the league with NFL players going into training camp and signing contracts, which close to 16 players. So that's the bulk of our starters. Only 6 or so of those were core guys that stayed in the NFL for the entire season, and they will have an opportunity to come back depending on how their contract structure will be moving forward with the league. But we like to say we're getting most of those guys back. We've already had 2 mini drafts where we've drafted a few mini camp incoming rookies that weren't drafted in the NFL, that weren't signed, that were on the street. We also signed a few street players, and now we'll have a draft this week, actually Friday, where we'll pick from the 4 teams in the last year's XFL that were eliminated moving forward to this year. So those 4 teams, those players will now be in a pool for all the other teams in just the XFL side to pick, and the USFL will do the same. And then we'll have one more in the middle of the month where everybody will be accessible, and, of course, the remaining preseason practice squad players in the NFL that finish the season but yet don't renew their contract, they'll also be eligible to come in to our teams as well, and per se a recruiting process. So we have to sell for them to sign with us, and we feel good about that. A lot of players between me and you and the audience listening want to play for the Battlehawks, want to come play for me. That's a great sign of what we're doing, and we've already been able to pick up a few key guys in free agency, and now with this moving forward, hopefully we can sprinkle in a couple key pieces that helped other teams in our league that really will help us get over the top and make our run.
Anthony Becht joining us, head coach of the St. Louis Battlehawks. And, I haven't checked. Are tickets available yet? Have they started pre-sale tickets for the next season?
Yeah, everything on XFL, I believe XFL.com/tickets, or just go to XFL.com, click on the tickets. I'd have to you got to quote me if the UFL.com is active yet, but the XFL.com I know will be. And you can get tickets. Yeah, we opened up the upper deck early before the holidays, so there's a lot going on, a lot of specialty seats. It's a great value. And again, I just really think that, the fans that watch us from afar that didn't get a chance to experience the games live, it's super fun. It's very quick. It's very of value to the families and their kids and everything around it. And again, the passion of the fans were so good last year. We broke the top 5 attendance spring football records ever were us last year in the history of spring football. I'd like to break all 5 of our records that we broke moving forward in 2024.
All right. Can I ask you some questions about the emotions of being a head coach? Is that okay? I'm just kind of curious.
100%.
This isn't real.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's more of like I don't want to say a personality type of thing, but so, for example, I'm up here in Detroit, and we have the Detroit Lions, and they played just recently in Dallas, and you saw how the referees, the eligible player controversy, and you hear these things, and I see the way that the coach Dan Campbell reacts for the Lions. And I thought, man, if that was me, I'd have been throwing a chair like Bobby Knight onto the field. So when you're so emotionally invested in your guys and you look at that and you think the referees made the bad call, obviously there's always time to dissect it. But in the moment, you're just furious about what happened in a game. How do you manage your emotions to keep level-headed so you know that doesn't affect things later in the game? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, you're obviously being the head coach. Your body language and the things you do really do kind of get the most out of your players, both good and bad. Clearly in that situation, obviously Dan Campbell, a very emotional guy, kind of wears it on his sleeve. I thought I had a little different view on that whole thing. I thought they were kind of being cute and tried to hide things a little bit and not be clear on how they were kind of making a player come in and make them an eligible player. From my direction, you make it very clear. You can't trick anybody. They're going to tell them. So, at the end of the day, the play works or it doesn't. But, again, you saw the miscommunications that happened, and those are the things that, kind of put you at risk. But, for me, one thing I've tried to do last year, if you go back and just remember, I was very emotional on the highs of the game because I want to show my excitement for my players. I'm happy guys score or make big plays. It's just part of the game, man. That's part of being a fan as well, like getting the emotionals. When the downsides happen, when the issues happen, when the refs make, a bad call or whatnot, I try to keep calm because I found that the officials swayed towards my way because of my calmness in those moments. Just how I picked up their kind of sense of the way they talk to me throughout a game. And I'm like, you know what? This may actually be a benefit if I'm not climbing down the back of these guys' necks. Now, is that persuading them to make great calls for us? Or I don't know. But, hey, persuasion is the best thing you can have sometimes, but the way you treat those guys. But, to me, to yell at a player and do those things and get a little nuts on the negative side, I can do that in practice during the week when I can really push the buttons of my players. But when they're out there, man, like I know that feeling. I know guys are going to not play perfect every single snap. I let the thing kind of play out. 4 quarters of football, man. We'll see what the scoreboard looks like. We'll celebrate and show our emotions on the positive end. But, man, you got to keep it cool on those other – and it is a challenge. It's tough, and it's a learning process because you want to – I've bit my tongue a million times when things have happened, and I want to curse somebody out, and I want to – but, cameras are on us, man. Like, watching our game. Like, they put cameras and the mics. Everything you say or do is going to get picked up. So you want to be strategic, too, on how you say those things, too, because everybody out there watching can hear.
Right. Okay. One more question, if you don't mind, if you got time. But you get all the national attention to the national broadcast for games like this. And you see the fan reaction, and the fans are going crazy, and they're tailgating, and they're coming to downtown, and they're just coming in droves, and they're filling the stadium like no other team. And you see the caca. Does the caca happen in the locker room? Do the players embrace that, or is that just a fan thing?
Yeah, I think it's more a fan thing. The guys will, kind of, have fun with it throughout the year. You don't really hear that in the locker room. Now, after a victory, guys are having fun. You may hear a couple caw. It gets a little, rambunctious in the locker room after a W. But the fans are all on it. I mean, it was around before I got there, so we've kind of embodied that, taken it in. It's kind of the expression that the fan base has kind of come up with this team, and I think it's great. I mean, like I said, the most engaging fan base in all of spring football and all spring sports. And again, St. Louis, they can do what they want, man. I'm all about it as long as they show up and have a great time, and I can give them a great product. I think it's best for everybody.
That's great. You got to earn the caca. Okay, Anthony Becht, head coach of the St. Louis Battlehawks, had a great time, and congratulations on the merger. I know St. Louis is going to lead the way again in this league, not only in attendance but with wins, and I hope that you can bring home that championship. Thank you for joining us here on 97.1.
You got it. Thank you very much. Go Battlehawks.
Go Battlehawks. Fantastic. What a great head coach to have here in St. Louis.
He's a lot of
Battlehawks
fun.
are very lucky to have him. Coming up in a few minutes,
Hey,
I guess since we're talking about football. Oh, Brad, are you wearing your Battlehawks stuff right now?
No, I'm not wearing my Battlehawks stuff, but I'm wearing my Battlehawks color. I did confirm the UFL. It's theufl.com. That website is up and running, and when you go to that website in the upper right-hand corner, it says Get Tickets, and that's where you can find tickets. I went to a game last year, and I haven't had that much fun in a long time. It's a party atmosphere, so I would highly recommend going and catching a game.
Everyone said that. Yeah, honestly. Anyone that went there said that, and there was a lot of hype, and this is one of the things that actually met the hype. I mean, how many times have you heard things hyped up and it actually met the expectation? This one, I think, exceeded the expectation in a lot of ways.
Oh, it was a blast.
Speaking of football, what's going on with this Jimmy Kimmel, Aaron Rodgers stuff? So there's a lot of drama between them. And if you go to any of the news sites, that seems to be one of their top headlines that people are clicking on. Let's look into that coming up after the break. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Andy Frey on 97.1 FM Talk.
I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life. I've been sleeping here instead. I've been sleeping in my bed.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
All the blood that I will bleed. I don't know where I belong. I don't know where I went wrong. But I can write a song.
STS-armory.com. That's the website. If you want to go visit them in-store, which is super fun and highly encouraged, check out STS Armory right there in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. Now, I'm talking to Missouri and Illinois gun enthusiasts or gun novices alike, but if you're somebody who's looking for an expert in the business, if you're somebody who is looking to purchase a first firearm in Illinois or your 50th firearm in Illinois, STS Armory wants to help guide you through that process. They have great prices on all of their merchandise, and they are the most knowledgeable when it comes to what is available, what could be available, what the lawsuits are right now throughout the course of the Second Amendment world. But they also have you equipped with the knowledge base that you should have to be a responsible gun owner. You can take classes for conceal and carry licenses there, just basic training that you might need. Drawing from concealment is another class that they have. I highly recommend you check out Katie and Jesse Johnson at STS Armory. Learn more at sts-armory.com.
What better way to support your nutrition than with the multivitamin that was created right here in St. Louis? Neovitin Original Multivitamin was created by St. Louis physician Dr. Ibicki to support his own nutrition when he needed it most. Now, Neovitin Original Multivitamin is formulated with sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and Dr. Ibicki's proprietary blend to give you nutritional support you won't find anywhere else. Neovitin is now conveniently available through our no-obligation monthly subscription. Cancel or pause at any time, and shipping is free. Support your nutrition with a subscription to Neovitin at neovitin.com today.
Happy New Year from Grill Master Tony Stone. Mark Cox here for my friend Tony. You know, it is a new year. Maybe you've got some football playoff parties planned. Think of Tony Stone. Maybe your corporate Christmas party got delayed until January. Tony Stone can cook for you, set it up, or just deliver it to the office and you can set it up for yourself. Whatever your needs are, Tony Stone's got you covered. All of his prices are right online. Order today. It's grillmastertony.com.
Surprise! Surprise! You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLHonorFlight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 FM Talk. You're here, and so are St. Louis's conservative thought leaders. St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The chills that you spill up my back leave me filled with satisfaction when we're done. Satisfaction of what's to come. I couldn't ask for another.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. And Brad, you did a great job booking for the show today. There's all kinds of great guests, including Battlehawks talk to start the show off. It doesn't get much better than that. Eben Brown from Fox News is going to join us looking at some of the new gun laws on the books starting 2024, some more strict than others. And Deroy Murdock, nationally syndicated columnist, a member of Project 21, joins us next hour. So we have a lot to get to over the course of the show. And I'm always excited to talk about it. But one of the things that you see on the headlines right now, there's a couple of things. When I went to the New York Post, because they did, I think, a really good rundown of this whole Jimmy Kimmel, Aaron Rodgers feud. And then they have the breaking news banner right up top. Identities of previously sealed names in Epstein-related case slated to start dropping today. Ooh, it's happening. Yesterday, I was watching Twitter, and this is what everyone was talking about. They were hitting F5 to refresh their page, over, refresh. And I think that Elon Musk tweeted out that they had the most traffic in the history of Twitter yesterday, and I think everyone's waiting to see these names that are going to be released from these court documents regarding some of the people that were associated with Jeffrey Epstein, the notorious child predator. What would you call him? Like, what would be the right title for Jeffrey Epstein? He would be the most notorious child trafficker. What would he be?
Dirtbag.
Biggest dirtbag?
Yeah.
There's a lot of dirtbags. I think you almost have to make sure you include that he was pimping out underage girls to his friends, and I don't know if you would say clients, but still. You have to make sure the sexual side of his crimes, the nature of his crimes, are put into his title. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I can't wait to see who the names are on this. But one of the things that really got Jimmy Kimmel upset is that he hates it when people speculate his name's on the Epstein list. And with the list within hours of coming out, and he's out there really upset that someone speculates he may be on it, I'm going to assume his name's not on it. Just because so close to the release, why would you deny it like an hour before it comes out? That seems like a really foolish thing to do. So we'll just say Jimmy Kimmel probably not on the list. However, Aaron Rodgers in the past has had issues with Jimmy Kimmel, and it goes back to the times during COVID and the vaccine when Aaron Rodgers decided he wasn't going to take the vaccine, and he kind of sidestepped the question there for a while. When the league had its own regulations, I think Aaron thought he was being smart in the way he was answering the question, given the impression that he was vaccinated, meaning that he took the Pfizer or he took the Moderna or whatever. But ultimately, he did not. But he gave kind of like the way he answered it made it sound like he did, which they thought was, not the greatest way to handle it, but still, he got a lot of made fun of for that. And on top of that, Jimmy Kimmel was always overly aggressive when it came to vaccine issues. If you remember Jimmy Kimmel, I mean, he even joked about laughing at you dying if you went to the hospital. And what did he call you? Good luck, Wheezy. Hope you, see you soon or whatever. So he's mocking people that are dying of COVID. And now, in retrospect, we're a couple of years removed. And we started to learn more about how the government lied to you, the effectiveness of the vaccine in the boosters. And really, now that we start to get more data, we realize that the Jimmy Kimmels of the world joking about people dying was in very poor taste, even if he thought that this vaccine was going to be the miracle cure that would prevent all deaths, right? You're in a club and you decide to be in the club of life. And if you're not, then guess what? You're in the club that gets mocked. And a lot of liberals did this, and a lot of them had not the best intentions. They really didn't care about those people. They thought it was their duty to government to comply to these things. And it was a really poor reflection of how the super far left just absolutely showed their true colors in a lot of ways. They haven't changed in some ways either, given that the circumstances and our understanding of COVID continues to change, and the more government documents that get released and behind the scenes conversations are released, we realize that the government did not act in good faith. They acted in a way to try to manipulate behavior, not based on perhaps truth, but based on what would get the result they wanted. And now you have to question what were their motives to try to get what they wanted. Was it in your best interest, or was it in someone else's best interest? Or was it in a corporation's best interest? What was it? I think those questions are valid questions. So let's go back to this feud. Jimmy Kimmel mocked Aaron Rodgers over and over again, mocked a lot of different people when it came to COVID, and was really, in poor taste in the way that he made these jokes. And the thing is, if Aaron Rodgers would have died, I'm sure Jimmy Kimmel would have made a joke about it. I think there's no question about it. He would have went out there and made some sort of dancing on the grave joke or whatever. And that's just the way Jimmy Kimmel is. So when Aaron Rodgers says one thing to Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Kimmel says, I'm going to sue you if you bring this up, it shows just how thin-skinned Jimmy Kimmel is. The guy that wore blackface, sang songs using the N-word, joked about and was like enjoyed the idea and pleasured in the idea that people would die. This is the guy that if one person suggests, I can't wait to see if your name's on this list, like Aaron Rodgers did, then, oh my goodness, I'm going to sue you for saying something bad about me. What a thin-skinned baby Jimmy Kimmel is. So let's listen to the comments from Aaron Rodgers. This was the Pat McAfee show, I believe. Let's take a listen.
This has something to do with the Epstein list that came out?
Feels like
That's supposed to be coming out soon.
Look, this guy's been waiting in his wine cellar.
Yeah.
I've been waiting in my wine cellar for this thing.
A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't.
All right. Obviously, a clip from this particular program was run on Jimmy Kimmel's show whenever Aaron brought up the list, and then Jimmy mocked him for it. Mm-hmm. Aaron has not forgotten about that, but here we are sitting right in front of that nice bottle of scotch. Mm-hmm. What do you say? I'm waiting to celebrate something.
Oh, yeah.
He's been waiting
That's
for that.
the one.
You've been waiting for
Hey, I'll tell you what, if that list comes out, I definitely will be popping some sort of bottle.
All right, so that was the comments you heard Aaron Rodgers kind of in the echoey background. Did it sound like that was like the most harsh, terrible thing that you could possibly say about it? Not at all. Here, Jimmy Kimmel's like, if you bring that up, I hope you have good lawyers because I'm going to sue you, is essentially Jimmy Kimmel's thoughts of even suggesting the fact that he could be on that list. Let me put it this way. Brad, can I tell you what I think's really happening here?
Go for it.
This is what I think's happening. I believe that Jimmy Kimmel in the world of Hollywood, there's probably a lot of his friends and people he really likes that are on that list. And he's realizing that a lot of people that he associates with are going to be tied up with this. And that doesn't look good for him, even if he's not on the list. But his world's about to get flipped, turned upside down when he realizes that he associates with a lot of people that were friends with Epstein. And that may be what really bothers him the most, or maybe it doesn't bother him at all. But I think Jimmy Kimmel is such a baby if he's threatening to sue Aaron Rodgers over the comments we just listened. Did that seem over the top at all to you?
Well, what it sounds like to me is that Kimmel is very upset because, like what you were saying, if he finds out that there's a bunch of people that he associated with, that he did all this, that he rubbed elbows with, all that other sort of thing that are on this list, what that does is that makes Jimmy Kimmel look like a hypocrite because what Kimmel has been doing, not necessarily on this, but just over the past, 4 or 5 years of his career, he's done nothing but virtue signal about how good he is and how bad other people are. And then now, if this list comes out and Jimmy Kimmel is associates with people on this list, it kind of really hurts his credibility and it makes him look really bad, even if he himself is not on that list because he was rubbing elbows. And that is the standard that he has had for other people in those circumstances, not specifically to child trafficking, but anything. He's like, if you were associated with this person, you're bad because you didn't tell this person to stop doing what they're doing. Well, he set that standard out there, and now if it comes out that he was even just in proximity to these people, it makes him look like a huge hypocrite, and that's bad for him.
Oh, yeah. Well, Bill Maher warned about this years ago. Do you remember those comments? And I'll just paraphrase what Bill Maher said, and this is fantastic line of thinking. And I think this is really where it started. I think some Republicans started to say, well, maybe this liberal ain't all wrong moment that Bill Maher had. Essentially, he was talking about cancel culture. And he said just how crazy things have gotten, where you'll go back 2 decades in order to try to nail someone based on something that may have been said that wasn't against some sort of cultural standard, or maybe it was a joke that someone said at the time that was deemed acceptable, but if you used it today, it wouldn't be deemed acceptable. So you know what? We're going to hold someone to the standards of today for something that happened 2 decades ago or 3 decades ago. And we're talking in some cases even free speech and jokes. So Bill Maher said, warning to all of his liberal friends, and basically looking at the camera and saying, so this is what's going to happen next. The extension of that is, well, you should have known better when that person made that joke, and you're telling me you didn't say anything? Now you're just as guilty. What you just said, Brad, is essentially the warning Bill Maher gave to his party years ago when we started to see people digging up things just to nail someone based on something that wasn't against a standard then. So now Jimmy Kimmel living in that, and it's in the sense he feels like this is the culture and this is the type of people I'm around all the time. So this is the standard I live up to. Now it's time for him to either put up or shut up. And guess what happens? He's going to try to, I don't know, change his tune or basically make it look like he wasn't part of that in order to protect himself. I don't think there's any way. It's super hypocritical, and he deserves to get nailed for something like this. And for him to go out there and say, you better have good lawyers for what you just heard, is completely thin-skinned and ridiculous, and you don't get to play both sides in something like this. Like all of a sudden you're a victim when you're really not.
Well, how often has Jimmy Kimmel done something similar to other people on his show? Linking them to something that they weren't linked to, accusing them of something that they weren't accused of, and he didn't get sued for that. Now, whenever somebody does the same thing, probably in the same manner that Kimmel was doing it, in jest for entertainment purposes, Kimmel loses his mind. If you can't, don't dish it out if you can't take it.
Yeah, that's it. The fact that, too, all the different footage we have of him and things that don't hold up to today's standards, by the way, the dressing in blackface and you rapping songs and saying the N-word over and over and over again, degrading women, some of the real questionable type of jokes. Some things you would look at and say, okay, you can look back at those things and say, okay, times have changed when it came to comedy. But if you're part of the mob that goes out there and tries to nail someone for those exact same comments, and then you feel like you're immune to it, even though you participated in the same things, it shows you are a hypocrite. Now, same thing's going to happen here. Going back and all the times you tried to nail someone for something that happened in their past, and here you are, elbow to elbow with all these people on the Epstein list. You're great friends with them. So now you're going to have to decide, are you going to show some integrity and disavow all these people on the list that have become your friends and help you rise to network television? Or are you going to defend them? Are you going to disavow them? What are you going to do? No, I'm just going to sue anyone that suggests I've done anything wrong. It's so ridiculous. So that's basically it. And if you go back and you look at some of the other comments, Jimmy Kimmel really laid into Aaron Rodgers over and over and over again throughout the years. And in a lot of ways, I find that Aaron Rodgers, being level-headed, he's been probably, I don't know if you want to take a record, if you're keeping score at home, but I would say that Jimmy Kimmel wasn't right most of the time in a lot of these different things that he did and the way that he approached it. So Pat McAfee show, by the way, is still one of the most watched streams podcast. It is super hot show. They got signed in with ESPN. He's got his own show there too. There's a reason why people like that kind of open flow talk where people can be free to express themselves and things like that. And there's why people are moving away from the late night talk show hosts that people just don't care about anymore. All right. When we come back, are we going to do Eben Brown? Is he on hold, or is Eben Brown wanting to come on now? It's up to you.
He's on the line.
Do we want to take him now and just take a late break? It's up to you.
Yeah, we can do that. Let's just take him now.
Okay. Fox News national correspondent Eben Brown joins us now. Thank you so much for joining us on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're welcome. Good. Happy New Year. Good afternoon.
Happy New Year to you. We play this at the start of the show. Larry David says you only have 3 days to say Happy New Year, so today's the last day. So we got it in just in time.
Is that 3 days or 3 business days? Because there's,
3 days total. 3 days total. So we're broadcasters. We live in the real world. We don't get days off. What are you talking about? Business days. So there's a lot of states that have enacted some new gun laws on the books, some more extreme than others. And I live in Michigan right now, and I do a lot of fill-in work, including here in St. Louis. So in Michigan, we had some changes in laws. A lot of them were very quickly enacted after the shooting at Michigan State University. So they did safe storage laws and red flag laws, things like that. What are some of the new laws that are on the books, and what are some of those in states that may be a little bit more extreme than that?
Well, there's a couple of big ones. One is in Illinois, and this was a result of or reaction to the mass shooting at the Highland Park July 4th parade a couple of years ago. And that was the creation of a registry for semi-automatic rifles, things like the AR-15. And they've given people a lot of time to register their firearms with law enforcement. And anyone who is now found in possession of an unregistered AR-15 or something similar could face prosecution, could get fined, could even something worse than that. So that's a pretty extreme thing that I know a lot of people are not happy about. The idea of gun registries really leaves a sour taste in the mouth of Second Amendment advocates. There are other states that have similar things that sort of are de facto gun registries. For instance, New York State, you have to have your firearms listed on your permit, for instance, and some people have argued that's essentially a registry. But that's something that's sort of been coming for a long time. California, however, has a law that's come on the books that a federal district court had tried to nix, and then the Circuit Court of Appeals reinstated pending the outcome of the court case. And that was the creation of 26 different types of places around the state that you could not carry, even if you could legally carry. And this was written in reaction to the Bruin decision of the Supreme Court, which undid a lot of New York State's very strict rules on concealed carry. So, for instance, this California law could, random sidewalks could be a no-go zone for carrying your firearm. And you may or may not know which sidewalk you're on if you don't see a sign posted, or if you cross the street or go to the next block and it changes inadvertently. So that's that's considered to be running afoul, at least by Second Amendment advocates' opinions. It runs afoul of the Constitution, and so they're fighting that in the courts. And then another one that's, again, it could create confusion for a lot of gun owners. Delaware will now make it illegal for you to have your firearm, even if you can legally carry, at a polling place. And the question is, is it a polling place? When is a polling place a polling place? Is it just a polling place on election day or days where voting is happening? I mean, a lot of polling places are, public buildings that you normally would go in and out of. So at what point do you what are the specifics here? And some would argue that these laws are created intentionally to be confusing, to try to persuade you to just be, oh, heck with it, I'll leave my gun at home, as opposed to carrying it legally, which might be your right.
Yeah, and it gets a lot of people frustrated. So I think there's a difference in polling places. For example, a church that's putting it on may have a different threshold of how comfortable you are versus a school that may be holding an election, and what's allowed on the grounds of that. And then you look on the California side, I get why so many people are upset. So many of these different cities, you're going to walk over syringes, you're going to see open air drug deals and fentanyl, and you're going to see homeless camps. But my goodness, if you have a firearm that's on you at the time, that's the thing they'll really be interested in as a law-abiding citizen. That's the thing that I think gets people really upset. You see these lawmakers are targeting them that are trying to comply legally with these laws and making it harder for someone to legally comply with these laws, when in reality there's a lot of other problems that they're sidestepping.
Well, I mean, that is part of the argument against it, saying you are trying to make it hard for me to carry my firearm, which is a legal right I have, and I've already jumped through your hoops in terms of getting permitted. Now you're trying to make it more difficult for me, and I'm the one who's following the law. And as you've mentioned, we have all these other troubles happening in our communities, and they're not being addressed by either state legislatures or governor of a specific state, whether you could talk about California, you could talk about Illinois. Both seem to be having similar problems. But that tends to be one of the arguments that ends up getting some of these laws thrown out, is that they are arbitrary. There is precedent to suggest, or previous decisions to suggest, that they run afoul of the Second Amendment. And often we see a lot of success in fighting against these laws, but sometimes it takes a while.
Right. Joining us here is Eben Brown, Fox News national correspondent. Different states signing in some new gun laws in 2024. Thank you so much for joining us here in St. Louis, and Happy New Year to you one last time before we can say I can't say that anymore.
Happy New Year. The clock is ticking until we can't say
it. Eben Brown joins us here from Fox News, and he does a fantastic job in his work. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Andy Frey on 97.1 FM Talk.
I do deeply dig, no walls, only the bridge. My supper dish, my crocketesh wish. Sing it, baby. I couldn't ask for another.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
No, I couldn't ask for another.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Hi, this is Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. What if it were possible to protect you from market downturns without having to make an emotional decision to buy or sell? What if you could take advantage of a strategy that would automatically take you out of harm's way during the bad years and position you for the growth opportunity during the good years?
The secret is in linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. By linking to the market instead of owning the market, you can participate safely on autopilot and lock in your gains without creating a taxable event. Go online at retirementkey.com for a no-obligation retirement review. We'll teach you the strategy that has helped our clients retire with confidence for the past 38 years. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up? I'm tired of feeling so bloated. That used to be me. Then I got this. Align Bloating Relief plus Food Digestion. A probiotic, right? Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus Food Digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Learn more at alignprobiotics.com.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. DayQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Big news, St. Louis. McKelvey Homes is celebrating 125 years with the biggest sale of the year. Save over $118,000 on completed market homes. Plus, get a special financing offer with interest rates starting at 4.495%. Here's the lineup. 4 homes in the Preserve in St. Louis County, including a stunning ranch in the Glen Carefree Village, which includes all lawn and snow maintenance. 2 homes at Inverness and Darden Prairie, including a fully loaded display home, and 1 ranch home at Summerlin and O'Fallon. These homes won't last long. Visit McKelveyHomes.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
STL Today is named Under Law 2023's best St. Louis law firm. We'll continue to make a difference, one case at a time.
When you're injured, call Under Law at 314 or 618-9000000.
The YouTube live chat poll is: do you find yourself removing your speech filter as you get older? So as you get older, do you find yourself not holding back whenever you say things? Yes, no, or I never had a filter. Jump on the Annie Frey YouTube page and get your vote in, and then tell us why in the chat. The time is 12:51. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Conservative solutions, objective conclusions. For news and opinion, this is St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
Yo, VIP. Let's kick it. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby. All right, stop.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly. Flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo,
There it is. Finally, Vanilla Ice. We played the audio yesterday from Mar-a-Lago and New Year's Eve, and I saw the video. I think it was Michelangelo up there dancing with Vanilla Ice. Mar-a-Lago in front of Donald Trump and all the crowd for New Year's Eve partying. There it was. The Ninja Turtles showed up for Donald Trump's New Year's Eve party. How crazy of a time that is. Think about what a time. I mean, honestly, you had Donald Trump. He's in Home Alone 2, and he's out there pimping for Pizza Hut. And Vanilla Ice and the Ninja Turtles are hot. And here it is, 2024, and he brings it all together at Mar-a-Lago. That's so great. That would have been a party, man. That would have got me off the couch. If someone said, hey, you want to go party with Vanilla Ice and the Ninja Turtles? I would not have missed that. I would have done everything I could to be there. That is so funny. You know, I was telling some people about that, the Mar-a-Lago party, and they made it sound like I was crazy for getting excited that that was a great idea. They thought that was so stupid. I thought it was fantastic myself. Fox News, Fox 2 News, had a story about Governor Mike Parson, and I'm sure Mark Cox in the morning was talking all about this, but he signed an executive order about foreign-owned farmland in the state of Missouri, and this has become more of a concern nationally speaking. Why is China coming in and buying a bunch of farmland in the United States, and should that happen? A lot of states and lawmakers have had this discussion, and they've come to the same conclusion. There's no good that can come from this. And I think Governor Parson is right to do something. Let me play this.
After years of failed legislation, the governor is taking matters into his own hands.
We are banning all purchases of Missouri agriculture land within 10 miles of critical military facilities by adversary nations, including China.
His executive order also directs the state's Department of Agriculture to enact stricter requirements for foreign purchases of land.
We believe this order today sufficiently protects Missourian security interests and potential bad actors while not punishing our allies for being good economic partners.
So I try to, whenever I hear a news story like this, look at both sides. So what is the upside to allowing China to own farmland in the state of Missouri? What is the argument that should be made that this executive order is a bad one? I really don't know, honestly. And when I think about this, I wonder, what is the upside? Like, who does that benefit, allowing China to buy farmland? And is it just that you're saying it's conspiratorial and they're perfectly normal for foreign entities to go and buy a part of our food chain that we rely on here in the United States? Much like China has disrupted a lot of our commerce during COVID and made shipping a complete nightmare. We've seen also them using slave labor with the Uyghurs and them not treating their people all that well. We already know that they also put pressure onto other entities in the region, entities that are friendly to terrorism, and help support them, which also then in return turns on the United States. China's not a friend to us, and they shouldn't be treated like friends. So why would we allow these type of government entities or big oligarchs or whatever, these big Chinese investors, buy up our farmland? What would be the benefit of allowing something like that to happen? And Brad, I can't think of one reason why this should be allowed to happen. What's the argument for it?
The argument for it has always been it's about money. It's about free market trade. We should be able to sell, like private entities should be able to sell to whoever they want to sell for. But the other side of that is it's a national security threat. This farmland, I believe Parson was talking about, was near like secure facilities, and they didn't want China to have access to those secure facilities, which this seems to be a pattern that we're seeing from China, that they like to buy up properties around facilities that might be of interest to them militarily so that they can allegedly, maybe, possibly, like the only thing that I could see them gaining out of it is spy, essentially. Espionage.
Yeah.
They've got a history of that.
Yeah. Let's just put a balloon over the country, if they can't get the farmland close enough, or maybe build something on that land that would be used to, I don't know, intercept or spy or do whatever. And it is a major concern. So just let alone the major concern being that a disruption into our food chain is something that could be very devastating for the United States in the future. So, Governor Mike Parson, this is his approach. His approach is, we've had time and we've needed to do something on this. I'm just going to put this executive order in. If you can do something legislatively the way I prefer it to happen, then this executive order is a moot point. If not, this is the fail-safe, just so we have something. And you know what? That's an interesting approach, and I feel like he's being as delicate as possible for that approach. All right, when we come back, we got a whole nother hour planned for you, and I really look forward to talking to Deroy Murdock. He's a nationally syndicated columnist, a member of Project 21. You're listening to The Andy Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Winter is here. Not as cold yet, but I'm pretty confident the cold weather is going to be here. So I just want to let y'all know, save my number in your phone for when your furnace does break. You'll know who to call, and we can get right out there and take care of you. With that said, we have been experiencing some problems with our phones going up and down. We got the phone people trying to figure out what's going on here. But if you call and you do not get a response, two things have happened. Our phones are down, or you called the wrong company. If you do not get a response from us, or if you call and nobody responds back to you, go to my website. That is Bart Inman. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I. You should actually save that too, with the phone number, 314-293-2600. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. And it's the only number for Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Merry Christmas. And God bless.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. ramp.com/free.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Republicans at the border. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News, a group of House Republicans critical of President Biden's border policies in Eagle Pass, Texas today.
Speaker Mike Johnson and those Republicans coming here to Eagle Pass today. He tweeted yesterday pointing out that it's kind of dead out here in Eagle Pass compared to what it was like just a couple weeks ago. He says, quote, "Here is Eagle Pass just weeks ago versus yesterday. The Biden administration decided to divert the flood of illegal immigrants to another location in order to keep them out of the camera shots during House GOP's visit to Eagle Pass. Don't be fooled. They are still being released into our country. Under President Biden, our southern border is a disaster." And CBP sources telling Fox in December there were over 302,000 migrant encounters. That is the highest single month ever recorded.
Fox's Bill Malugin reporting at least 103 people are reported killed in 2 explosions in Iran. This was at an event honoring General Qasem Soleimani, killed in a U.S. drone strike in Iraq 4 years ago. Nobody has immediately claimed responsibility for the bombings today. Israeli military officials are on high alert for possible escalation with Hezbollah following the killing of a senior Hamas leader.
Israel is on high alert after the strike on Tuesday that killed Saleh Arouri, one of the top leaders of Hamas. It was widely blamed on Israel and happened in a suburb of Beirut, Lebanon, which is a Hezbollah stronghold. Israel had declared Hamas leaders, quote, walking dead men following the October 7th attack by Hamas. Now there's concern of the risk of a wider Middle East conflict. Much depends on how Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah responds. He has led the organization since an Israeli strike killed his predecessor in 1992 and has previously vowed to retaliate for any Israeli targeting of allied militant leaders in Lebanon. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
A Muslim religious leader has been shot and critically wounded outside a mosque in Newark, New Jersey this morning. Nothing from police about a possible suspect or motive. America's listening to Fox News.
Paid actor portrayal.
I didn't see it coming. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. The mortgage, car payments, and all the other bills. Even things like our annual summer vacation would be out of reach. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. I knew it was time to stop putting it off and get life insurance right now. I got on my computer and went to ethoslife.com. In just 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected. Thanks to Ethos, my family won't have to worry about the bills if the unpredictable happens to me.
Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's GETETHOS.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Chilly times, but lots of sunshine and light winds on this Wednesday afternoon. 42 for the high today. Tonight, partly cloudy, down to 25. On Thursday, sunshine, a chilly 40 degrees. Increasing clouds Thursday night, then Friday, clouds controlling 42. We've got a light rain mixed with wet snow at times Friday night and into Saturday morning. Fast in, fast out. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The annual Cardinals Care Winter Warm-Up is back at Busch Stadium in Ballpark Village, January 13th through the 15th. We want you to be there. Mark Cox here. Listen all week for your chance to win and experience the unofficial kickoff of the 2024 baseball season.
You need to stop wondering and worrying if you have enough to retire comfortably. You don't have to worry about it. That's the key message here. You don't have to worry because you know Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group, and they are only one phone call away. Get your pen and paper out or grab your phone because I'm going to tell you the number that you need to call when you have the time to have the quick conversation to set up your own personal retirement review. You're going to reach out to 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, and the family-owned and operated business at the Retirement Advisory Group are going to help you stop wondering if you have enough to retire comfortably, and they're going to help you establish a personalized, structured income plan that is going to get you to that worry-free retirement that you've always dreamt of. Call them and schedule an appointment today, 314-993-9494. You can find them online right now as well by visiting retirementkey.com.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2, have a plan to get there. Step 3, make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Reel in the big one at the best fishing expo in the Midwest. The Let's Go Fishing Show, January 5th through the 7th at the Gateway Convention Center in Collinsville. Visit vendors with the latest fishing boats, rods, reels, tackle, accessories, resorts, and guided services. Shop unique, one-of-a-kind items and top-of-the-line marine electronics at discount prices. Attend free seminars. Meet pro anglers, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro Brandon Polinack, Steve Kennedy, and more. Free fishing pond, too. Visit letsgoshows.com for coupons and more information.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
And welcome back to the show. We're going to be joined here in a moment by Deroy Murdock. I'm looking forward to it. And if you want to reach the show, you can. It's very easy. Hop on YouTube, which is good because we have the YouTube live chat poll up. Do you find yourself removing your speech filter the older you get? I think it's very good. I'd say yes for me, absolutely. And if you want to participate in that, it would be good to get in on the poll. If you want to find me guest hosting here for Annie Frey, Ryan Recker Radio on Facebook would be a great way to do that. Joining us now, a nationally syndicated columnist, a member of Project 21, and a Fox News contributor, Deroy Murdock. Thank you for coming on to 97.1 FM Talk.
Great. Happy New Year to be with you and your listeners.
Happy New Year to you as well. So Harvard University's president, Claudine Gay, resigning. And it's such an interesting controversy. She wasn't on the job all that long to begin with. There were other red flags that were already raised leading into this. But then it was her testimony that many looked at as anti-Semitic and allowing anti-Semitism on the campus of Harvard. And on top of that, what really takes her down is plagiarism. So I wanted to discuss this. What's the big deal about plagiarism anyway? Because that's what some of the pundits are basically saying.
That's astonishing because anybody who's been to college and maybe even high school or maybe even junior high understands that when you write an academic paper, term paper, certainly it's something as big as a dissertation or even a book, it's perfectly okay to quote other people, other scholars, other previous research, whatever it is, speeches, articles, but you always have to put quotation marks around whatever you use and then comma, said Sam Jones, said Sarah Smith, said George Washington, said Abraham Lincoln, said George S. Patton, whatever it might be. And as long as you do that, that's fine. That's what to me is so baffling about this is how easy it is to avoid charges of plagiarism. You know, when I was in high school, I used to think plagiarism meant that any time you wrote a paper or anything, every thought in it had to be original, every concept in it had to be something nobody ever had seen before, like splitting the atom back in 1944. That's not the case. You can write an op-ed, term paper or a dissertation, whatever, where you quote a bunch of different scholars and at the end say, you know, I agree with these people, I disagree with these other people. And basically you can do copy, paste, as long as you put quotation marks, comma, said so-and-so. That's it. It's that easy. So nobody was expecting Claudine Gay to come up with brand new concepts nobody ever seen and develop her own individual novel, never before seen theory or conclusion or school of thought. All she had to do is put quotation marks around what she copied and pasted or paraphrased, and then say, you know, according to so and so, or said such and such, or as we read in such and such a book. It was that easy, and she couldn't do this. And that basic lesson that we learn as college freshmen or even as high school students, she violated not once or twice or 3 times because she was busy or hit send before she had a chance to do proofreading. She did this 50 different times. And, if you're a college freshman, that gets you in huge trouble. When you're president of Harvard University, we're not talking about some little, small state school or technical college or whatever. This is Harvard University, and she's the president, and she does this 50 times. She absolutely deserved to get booted, and she should be ashamed of herself. And if they'd kept her on, I basically would say to everyone at Harvard University, go ahead, copy, paste, hand in, people's stolen thoughts, and that's okay. If they'd kept her around, that's basically the message I would have sent to everyone at Harvard and, frankly, everybody else in higher education.
Well, let's talk about the message being sent, because some of the defense from her and the people around her is that you're essentially weaponizing plagiarism, which is racially motivated. You're doing this because there's you're calling me out because there's some sort of racial motivation for it. When we look at that, how dangerous is it to go down that road and to try to, I guess, double down on your wrong actions to say that, no, it's actually you that needs to evaluate your position?
Yeah, there's nothing racist about this. I mean, she got in trouble for a couple of things. One is plagiarism, of course, and the other is her testimony on Capitol Hill regarding anti-Semitism on college campuses. She testified before a House committee, and Congresswoman Elise Stefanik of upstate New York asked her, as well as the presidents of MIT and University of Pennsylvania, does it violate your campus speech codes for somebody to run around and say, hey, we should commit genocide against the Jews? And rather than say, yeah, that's awful, you can't say that, which is, hey, let's kill the Jews on campus and everywhere else, they hemmed and hawed and they wrung their hands and, well, it depends on the context and, what did the person mean, or will this be action or just words? If the question had been, is it a violation of your campus speech code to say, let's round up all the blacks and lynch them, the answer would have been, of course, that's terrible. You can't say that. That's a hate crime, and we'll throw you off campus the second you say such a thing. But you mention Jews, and all of a sudden, well, they're not so sure, and it depends, and who knows what the context is. And I mean, the inability of these 3 college presidents to answer that question clearly just was utterly appalling, and that's the first thing that got Claudine Gay in trouble. It also cost the job of Liz McGill, the president of MIT, of University of Pennsylvania. And guess what? She's white, so this has nothing to do with race. This has to do with being soft on genocide, and also, as we said earlier, engaging in rampant plagiarism on the part of Claudine Gay.
Right. Can I play a clip from CNN from you? This is commentator Matt Egan, and I wanted to get your reaction to it because I'm so interested in hearing the defenses of her right now. This is about 30 seconds.
We should note that Claudine Gay has not been accused of stealing anyone's ideas in any of her writings. She's been accused of sort of more like copying other people's writings without attribution. So it's been more sloppy attribution than stealing anyone's ideas.
Judge, what is the definition of plagiarism?
I have to close my mouth before I can answer that, Dana. Plagiarism is actually that. It's the taking of other people's ideas and words.
All right, so the first part you heard CNN's Matt Egan, and then the second part was Fox reacting to it with Judge Janine. So let's look at that. So basically the argument to try to defend Claudine Gay is that there was no ill intention. Oh, she just either forgot to do it or she wasn't trying to claim it as her own. But does that even matter in a case like this?
Well, look, it's like saying, well, she didn't commit arson. She just covered the front porch with gasoline and threw a match on it. She didn't kill anybody. She just put a knife in his heart and stopped beating. I mean, this is the definition of plagiarism, is copying people's words and not attributing them, period. So, yeah, that's plagiarism. She did what exactly is the definition of that word, and you're not allowed to do that in academia or anywhere else. And if you do, you get in trouble. And again, if it happened once or twice, okay, she's busy. Maybe it's 4 a.m. and she's turning in a paper and she's exhausted and forgot to do some proofreading. Fine, you let it slide if it's once or twice. But when it's 50 times, that is a pattern of academic malpractice. And to have not just some freshman or sophomore do this, but the president of Harvard University do this is completely, totally, utterly unacceptable. I will add one interesting note is what impact this might have on the presidential election. This creates a vacancy at a very prestigious place. So one of the questions is, if Joe Biden wants to get himself in a better position, what does he do with Kamala Harris? I tell you what he does is try to get her to be president of Harvard University. She then has a very prestigious face-saving exit from the White House, and somebody else can step into the presidency, and then he quietly can leave without having the Kamala problem. I don't know if that'll take place, but boy, if it did, wouldn't that be fascinating?
Oh boy, that's quite the carrot to dangle in front of her. But that's a fascinating idea. And there are some other instances, not just on universities, but journalists get caught with this too. Sometimes they will steal other people's work, and even at high levels at major networks. And when we find these things happening, we normally call them out for what it is. So what do you think a case like this, when it comes to blatant plagiarism on a university campus, could have across other job fields? Do you think that people are just going to be on higher alert for stolen work in hopes to perhaps make sure we stop this practice?
I think people are going to be a lot more careful about this, as they should be. I know I'm very careful in my articles. If I don't say blah, 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 said, according to Newsweek or according to the LA Times, whatever, I'll at least link to it. And it's very important. I think links in articles are kind of the internet equivalent of footnotes. So it's very important. I always tell editors, don't take links out of my articles, leave them in, or you're basically putting me in a situation of plagiarism, which I do not want to be in, and that's not good for me or any of my publications. So I think people will be more careful about this. Some people may start going back and looking at the work of particularly controversial academic and other leaders, see if they engaged in plagiarism. And this, as you say, has gotten other people in trouble. Doris Kearns Goodwin had some quotations in some of her books or articles that weren't attributed. She, I think, got knocked off air. I think they gave her like a hiatus, and she was able to go back to CNN or MSNBC, but she got in trouble for that. And then you've got another author. He wrote Band of Brothers. I'm getting a blank right now, unfortunately, on his name, but very well-regarded author who wrote a lot about World War II. And unfortunately, towards the end of his life, there were some comments that were not attributed. He said that his research students doing research with him, I guess, forgot to do that. But that was still his responsibility, and he had to apologize for that. Unfortunately, he died not long afterwards. That left him with a bit of a tarnished reputation, which is too bad because he had been so well regarded before that.
You know what the sad thing, and one of the sad things.
Stephen Ambrose, named Stephen Ambrose. It finally came to me. I met Stephen Ambrose, who's a magnificent writer, and I love his work and recommend Band of Brothers and many others. But towards the end of his life, that popped up and took a bit of the shine off his reputation, which is too bad.
Another thing that I think people are recognizing is just how much money these university presidents are making, and she gets to keep all of it. So what was it, $900,000 she gets to walk away from?
I think it's $879,000, and she keeps her professorship, so they're not kicking her off campus. She's going to, she keeps the same amount of money, and she'll have less responsibilities. So, in a certain sense, she'll have a lot more free time. So this may be a Pyrrhic victory.
It's not a punishment. It's not a punishment at all.
Yeah, it's a small gain, really.
I know. Okay, if people wanted to read your work and find you online, where can they go?
Well, Google me, and you'll see my stuff at Daily Caller, at American Spectator, at Newsmax. I'm a contributing editor at the National Review online, so go to nationalreview.com. You'll see articles of mine there going back to about the year 2000. So probably about 23, 24 years worth of op-eds on almost every controversial topic that's popped up between the year 2000 and today online. And my stuff goes all the way back to 1979. If you can check the archives of Paul Revere Junior High School, I've been doing this for about 45 years now. Believe it or not.
The high school records.
Yeah, writing the same stuff over and over, and unfortunately, nobody ever listens and nobody ever learns.
I know. What was the popular topics when you were in high school? What was your big article?
Well, back then, I obviously wrote about stuff on campus, like, we need more vending machines. But I wrote about national stuff. I wrote about the SALT II Treaty. I wrote articles about why Ronald Reagan needed to replace Jimmy Carter. I wrote about busing, mandatory integration, all kinds of stuff. And then I did some music reviews and movie reviews and stuff like that, too.
Now, the high school kids write articles about the use of the word "riz," and that's their article. It's like, okay, here's what's in the lexicon. You're in there talking about foreign policy and domestic policy as a high school student. We've come a long way, I got to say. The standards may have been lowered a little bit over the years.
How far from the caves we've crawled.
Deroy Murdock, thank you so much for joining us, a member of Project 21. You can find his work online, Daily Caller, Fox News contributor, nationally syndicated columnist. Thank you for coming on to St. Louis and 97.1 FM Talk.
And I will be on Fox News Channel today about 3:30 on Fox News Channel, and Fox Business about 4:45, 4:30. So you can see me twice on Fox today.
Real quick, I'm curious how that works in the background. How early do you have to report to be on camera for a national hit like that?
Oh, that's a good question. It's usually it's good to get there for makeup and whatnot, 15 minutes earlier. I once, unfortunately, hopped on the wrong subway train and went in the wrong direction, and I actually sat down in the chair as Ashley Webster was saying. Now here's Deroy Murdock just as my butt hits the chair. So it's been, in worst case scenario, it can be within about 2 seconds of going on camera.
So you're Robin Williams in Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah, it's happened a couple of times. I prefer to have more, lead time, but that's happened a couple of times.
Well, I was under the impression you had to be there like 2 hours early or something, but maybe they only do that for the lowly guests, not the big names like you.
Well, I think, if people have not been on TV much, they probably want to give you time to, calm down and lower your blood pressure. But those of us do this a lot. We can stroll in a couple minutes before and things. So
it could be
usually don't fall apart. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Deroy Murdock, again, we'll look for your appearances on Fox today. Thank you for coming on to St. Louis here.
You bet. Thanks for having me on. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Frey. Great show so far today. I believe Annie's going to be back tomorrow. And when we come back, there is this one project in Belleville with them wanting to put a solar farm on cemetery grounds. It's a little controversial in the area. Plus, speaking of moving, Sean Hannity says, goodbye, New York, hello, Florida. We're going to discuss that as well. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
No, I don't like you. I don't like your perfect crime.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
You couldn't pick a worse time to sell your home. Sure, your home is worth a small fortune right now, but are you really going to swap your 2 or 3% current interest rate and pay 7 or 8% interest on a new house? No way. You don't have to with the Get Paid and Stay program from Truehold. You'll love this. It's a genius idea. With the Get Paid and Stay program, Truehold will buy your home now at its best current value. You bank the cash and stay in your home until interest rates come back down, or as long as you like. It's your call. Plus, you won't have to pay property taxes, insurance, or upkeep anymore. Truehold pays those expenses. Learn about Truehold's Get Paid and Stay program. Call 855-300-9993. That's 855-300-9993. Or visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will pay for your home based on its best current value, not what's coming. Truehold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. Call 855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsl.honorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Wednesday afternoon, we'll cover the start of the legislative session in Jefferson City. Also, our weekly visit with Brian Kilmeade after a couple of weeks off.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker. If you want to find me online, Ryan Recker Radio. Would be good to spend some time there together. A couple of things I wanted to bring up. I had one of those moments where my heart melted during the time in between the segments. Can I tell you what happened, Brad? I don't know if you'll be able to relate to this because you don't have kids, but I'll tell you, there's okay. That look on your face, you're like, oh, not this again. This no kid talk. Oh, but my daughter was working on a bracelet for me. Not that I wear jewelry, I never do. But while I was doing the show, she came down to give it to me, and my door was closed because I was doing the show. She slipped it under the door and left. So when I got up to go during the break to get some, hot water and go to the bathroom, I saw it laying on the floor, and my little heart melted. Look at this brace. I have it up on the video camera now. And I felt like, all those like movies where dad's working and he's like, hey, kid, get away from me. I felt like one of those dads, because I didn't even know what happened. So I saw it there and my heart melted. And I said, oh, she made this and all she wanted to do was give it to me. And it would have been a great little moment. And here I was ignoring her.
Interviewing nationally syndicated columnist Deroy Murdock.
I know. And here it is. Oh, look how there's little hearts on there. There's little hearts. Hearts.
For those of you that can't see it on the stream, it's got beads. It's a bead bracelet.
Yeah.
And
I have it up on
hearts,
the screen right
and
now.
there's pinks and purples and greens.
Oh, yeah. She did this all herself, other than my wife who tied it for her, the little elastic string part that it's on.
How old is she?
3.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, I felt like all those movies where, oh, look, dad's not home again. He's busy working. He's like talking on the phone, business talk, and here I am in the background, just sad. I was one of those moments where I felt completely I just need to quit what I'm doing and just like support her bead making efforts.
Well, make sure you go on the next big break and give her a hug and say thank you. That's your assignment.
No. Well, this happened at the top of the hour. So when we got out of the 1 o'clock hour, I saw it and I went up there and I gave her a big hug and kiss and I came back down. But with Deroy on the line, I wanted to bring this up to you here now. I didn't want to bring it up while he was waiting.
Yeah, for sure.
And the other thing you brought up was someone brought in some sheet cake out there. Is that right?
Yeah, the Gelman team said thank you for partnering with us, and they brought us in 2 big sheet cakes. For those of you who don't know, that's one of the perks of being on radio is free food. You'll walk out. We got a little kitchenette area here at the studio, and you'll walk out there, and you never know what's going to be out there. Sometimes it's what are those biscuits that have like the stuffing? You like it's like a biscuit, but inside it's got the gravy, the sausage gravy, or you can get bacon.
Oh, the kolchis or something? Or
kolaches.
Kolache?
Yeah. Oh, man. There's just all sorts of good food here, so you got to be really careful. Otherwise, you'll put on a ton of weight.
So what are you trying to tell me?
I'm trying to say
I put on a bunch of weight?
No, I'm trying to say I don't always eat everything that's out there because you were surprised I didn't grab any cake.
My father-in-law did that to me on Christmas. So we were sitting around the table, and we're eating our meal, and he goes, hey, so Ryan, you put on about 15 pounds? He pulled that line on me in front of the family.
Your father-in-law or your father?
My father-in-law. It looks like you put on about 15 pounds. You put on some weight.
How do you think he would vote in today's YouTube live chat poll?
He's been there for a long time, yeah. He doesn't hold back. This is one of those moments where it was a moment where you kind of hear the silverware hit the plates, the clinking, clink, clink, and they all look at Dad, you can't say that. My wife and they were all there watching this, and it was just so funny. But I thought that was great. So then I had to basically, it came up later in the night. I can't remember what the reference point was. But I said, "Oh, was that like when you asked me what's up with my face You know, she's like, I can see it in your face. You look like you put on about 15 pounds. But no, I'm not over here eating the Gelman team sheet cake.
Man,
just living my life. It's Thanksgiving and Christmas. What do you expect?
So, Ryan, I don't know if you know this about me, but I used to weigh about 330 pounds. And
whoa, dude, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I lost a bunch of weight. But it's always out of the mouth of like older people or really young people that like you get the unfiltered truth. So my story like this is my niece, she's 20 now, which is wild, but she was probably 2 or 3 years old. And I was holding her and she was laying on my belly while I was sitting on the recliner. And she pats me on the belly and she goes, Uncle Brad, why is your belly so big? And then like, how do you answer that question? You go, I like pizza. You know?
That's right. Exactly. I know 100% what you mean. So now, given I wasn't, 300 plus or anything like that, but when I was doing the late night show over on KMOX one time, and this is during the pandemic, working from home, my son came up to me and he pat my belly and he made a song for me. And the song was, you have a big fat belly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I recorded this song and there was a listener, Doug, who actually put some music behind it, and we created the song, You Have a Big Fat Belly, Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. And that was kind of a theme song we used on the show for a long time. I can't find that song anymore. So if Doug is listening, I'm going to have to reach out to him again to see if he still has a copy of it. It was one of those ongoing bits that we had on the late night show. It was fantastic. It really was. And you set the segment up by saying, my son made a song called I Love Daddy. And then you just let the thing go. And there it was. You got a big fat belly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then he would have been 5 at the time, I think. Yeah, 5. So good for him. But you mentioned the sugar thing with the cake or whatever. You know what happened to me the other day? Because I don't drink, or I don't eat a lot of like sugar. I don't drink sodas. All I have normally is water or coffee. Those are like the two different things I have. And once you cut out sodas and all the unnecessary sugar you're drinking with them, or the people that drink the Monster energy drinks, I don't know how their body can keep up with that stuff. There was one night I was with my buddies playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Attaboy.
Now,
Here we go.
Getting really wild here because I had 3 sodas, big bottles of soda, and I'm not used to drinking it. The next morning, there was so much sugar in these specialty sodas that I felt hungover all morning long. Sugar made me feel hungover from Dungeons and Dragons.
I've done
Is
that
there anything
before.
more nerdy than that?
No, hey, Ryan, it's not nerdy. We're cool. I used to play it too.
Used to. Oh,
The
so
only-
now you're cool.
The only reason I don't play it now is that I don't have a group to play it with. Like
I know.
it's a lot of fun, but you need to find yourself a dungeon master who's really good to make the game enjoyable. And it just takes a lot more time than an adult has to set it up to play.
I know. And you know how hard it is to get everyone's schedules aligned?
That's the other
and
side.
all you need is one thing to go awry and you can't get together. And that's what happened. We used to shoot for every other week. And we started this during the pandemic because we did it virtually. Like, this is my buddy who wanted to be a dungeon master. And he's like, I want to learn how to do this. So kind of let's start it because it'll give us something to do now that we're socially distancing. And I was doing it from Missouri until I moved back here. And then we started doing it in person. And it's been so much fun. I got to tell you.
I just looked on
really
the private chat. Leah says we're nerds.
Of course. Nerds. Leah, we are not nerds.
Ryan,
You
I
just
don't
don't understand. We're
I don't
cool.
know if you're into computer gaming or not, but if you like Dungeons and Dragons, Baldur's Gate 3 came out for the PC, and it allows you to just get together, create a character, and then you and your buddies can get together and play through the storyline, and then the computer acts as the DM, and it's really good.
Can I say, here's the problem I run into. All my friends are super into it. They all play the games. They all watch different movies. They're super into the books, everything Dungeons and Dragons, like wizardry stuff, or the old, dragons flying around and like the Lord of the Rings stuff. They're all super into it. I'm just not. And I am the biggest slacker because they know the rule books in and out. They listen to the podcasts, the big podcast, which is, I forgot what it's called, but they basically go through a campaign and it's like one of the biggest crowdsourced projects they ever had. And they all know all the tricks. And I sometimes will have to say, you'll have to remind me how to do that. I don't remember how to do that. And they all know everything. So basically, if there was if this was a reality show, I'd be the first one kicked out.
Oh.
And they allow me to play essentially without getting mad at me for not knowing as much as they do. So I'm not at the same level as them. I don't think I'd be popping on a video game anytime soon. I'm a casual player that does it socially for fun and just enjoys the storytelling that goes on during it.
That's what I like about it. It's the social aspect and the storytelling.
Right. Wow, that's not where I thought we would go in this segment. Let's do this one Belleville story real quick. The city council is moving forward on a plan to buy the cemetery land from, well, I guess they want to take it over. I don't know if buying's the right word for it. So in Belleville, apparently there's a cemetery that's been basically vacant for the past decade. The people that took over this cemetery had some financial issues. They're in jail for some other issues. And the city has been taking care of it. They say to the tune of about $100,000 a year, maintaining this plot. And there's a lot of acreage that's not being used. And they said, well, if we were to lease out some of this land and put a solar farm, instead of losing $100,000, we may be able to only lose 20 grand. Like the money we'd make off of leasing this would essentially be about 80 grand a year. And there's a idea is, okay, let's clear out this forest that's associated with it. We'll put up the solar farm and we'll make some money. Now, it goes both ways in this, mostly because some people believe it's never going to cost what you say it's going to cost. In some ways, we want to trust you and think this is it. And the other people that are out there are looking at it and supporting it. They're saying, what else are you going to do? Because we're just losing money. We got to do something. Here's the Fox 2 report.
Cemetery taking center stage in Belleville as the city council there approves a plan to buy it and turn a large wooded area near it into a solar farm. Fox 2's Laura Simon joining us to explain how that solar farm would fund maintenance of the cemetery. Good morning to you, Laura.
Good morning to you, Margie. Right now, the state owns the Mount Hope Cemetery, but last night at a city council meeting, Belleville City Council members unanimously voted to ask the state to buy the cemetery. And as one councilman put it, it's going to be a lot of other things that has to happen before that could officially happen.
All right, so they're saying it's not that lucrative once you got their money and they're not going to be able to like collect from them when they're in the ground. So it's just going to be an expense at some point. I don't know. Do you think that it's okay that they're going to take this plot of land and potentially use it for something else?
Well, I mean, the cemetery, is it still active? Do they still do burials and new plots?
I don't know how you can. Like, if there's no one there to do that. I guess if you pre-purchase the plots, but if, let's say it's in default, there's no one there to regulate who's buried there. Like, could you essentially just say, you know what, my loved one died, I'm just going to go put them in there because no one's going to stop me. Like, I'm just going to commandeer or squat.
Just show up with a backhoe and dig a hole.
Could you squat on a cemetery plot, knowing that this is basically sitting there with no regulation? Could you do that?
I don't think so. But I do understand where Belleville's coming from on this. I mean, like, maintaining groundskeeping and all that stuff, trying to maintain that, because you do want to be respectful of those that have passed away, and you want to make sure that, you know, those that have buried loved ones there can easily visit them and stuff like that. It's going to cost a lot of money. That groundskeeping costs a lot of money. Now, if I think it might be a good idea if you can take off and section off and say, hey, we're not doing any more burials in this land, and what we're going to do then is build this solar farm in this wooded area of this property. If it were up to me, I would try to leave some sort of wooded area that acts as a divider. I don't know the layout of the land, but if you could leave wooded area that acts as a divider between the solar farm and the cemetery, so it's on the same plot of land, but they're almost like two separate entities, and then you can use those funds to maintain the cemetery. I think that's a good idea, because it really sounds like Belleville just kind of had this dropped in their lap after those people went to jail that originally owned the cemetery.
Are you superstitious at all?
No, but I am a little stitious.
Yeah. Would you like a job where you have to work on a plot of land that has a cemetery? So, you know how some people say it's like, ooh, creepy at night, cemetery, you know? So would you like to work where you have to walk over dead people every day?
It wouldn't bother me. I'm going to be honest with you. I grew up, and the property that I grew up on, the property that butted up to it, we lived out in the middle of the country, but it was an old church cemetery. Now, the church still owns the property, but the cemetery, the headstones were like from 1870 and before. So they're all worn down. And like when we would go out and walk through the woods were all grown up, and you'd see these headstones laying on the ground and stuff like that. And I never really stopped and thought about it. It was always really fascinating to me to look at these headstones, to look at them and wonder who these, like, there was families there. One of them was a dad, a mom, and then like a little kid who passed away. And then I started doing some research on the time frame. The kid was like 11, and there was some sort of disease outbreak that happened at that time. And so I don't know that that's what happened, but I assume that maybe they got sick with some sort of disease and passed away as a young kid. But like the history side of it was very fascinating to me, and to wonder like, so you've got, you know, John Smith and it born 1830, died 1870. And in the middle of that is just a dash. And it's like, what was this man's like? That was his life. That dash is his life. What was this man like?
That dash.
No, not writing
that dash.
a book.
That could be a TV show. That dash. And then, you know, that's the in-between points. You're onto something there. I like that thought that could bring a lot of creativity in story writing. But I just imagine it's like a lunch break. You're eating a ham sandwich and you're like chewing on it. And you're like, wonder what happened to this kid. Just, there's a story there. You think that the workers would feel obligated to like hold their breath when they're driving into work, like some of the other superstitions?
You're mowing the grass and you have to hold your breath while you're driving the lawnmower across the.
Yeah, or because I've volunteered in spots where you've had to mow the lawn at like animal shelters and things where you had to maintain the grounds. So what if they say part of the deal is you can use this land, but you're going to have to mow the lawn because we're sick of it. So they have to like go on different shifts to mow. Yeah. Or, you know, you don't want to look as disrespectful too, because you have family members that maybe go visiting, particularly during certain times of the year. And, you know, Memorial Days, things like that they go and visit loved ones, birthdays, anniversaries. So you don't want to be in the background and like, you know, hey, it's great. They're over there partying or whatever. It's their company holiday. Yeah. And they got bounce houses while you're there mourning. You know, you want to be real careful.
Yeah. I don't think I'd set a headquarters up on the property, but like I said, just the solar farm, the equipment necessary to make the sun turn into electricity, then put it, you know, send it off to where it needs to go.
Yep. Speaking of moving, in a way, Sean Hannity said, I'm out of here, New York. Florida, here I come. Let's talk about that coming up after the break. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in on 97.1 FM Talk.
This is The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
Stewie, maybe 2024, one of your New Year's resolutions is going to be to get your financial house in order. I have seen news report after news report after news report about record credit card debt. This can be so burdensome. I know for somebody who's going through this, it's embarrassing and you want to address it, but you don't really want to have to talk about it. I want to unburden you from that. 314-324-4440. That's the number that starts the process of you taking the bull by the horns and getting this set right. 314-324-4440. That's Stewie's number. Now, how does Stewie help you? I talked to you about mortgages and the bagel loan with Stewie. How does he help you with your credit card debt? There is a very good possibility if you have credit card debt that you cannot get in front of, that you can barely make the minimum payment of, that a refinance might be a very, very smart move for you to get in front of that credit card debt. Call him and ask him. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
What I'm about to share is something we don't talk about often enough, so I'm just going to say it. We apply deodorant to our armpits every day. It's a part of the routine, right? So why do we put up with odors on other parts of our body between showers? It's time you discovered Lumi Whole Body Deodorant for pits, privates, and beyond. I tried it, and I noticed a difference right away, everywhere. Lumi was developed by an OBGYN. It's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours. Since Lumi, I never have to worry about body odor ever again, and that reassurance is worth every penny. Lumi has over 300,000 5-star reviews, and a 60-day money-back guarantee means you can try Lumi risk-free. Give Lumi Whole Body Deodorant a try and start controlling your body odor better, everywhere,
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code RISKFREE and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack and ships free with code RISKFREE. LUMEdeodorant.com, code RISKFREE, and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. That's LUMEdeodorant.com, code RISKFREE.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. Happy 2024. The new year is here. I have a great offer for the month of January. It might be the best deal of the year. Carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery. Every surface in your home can be Zero Resified by these carpet cleaning professionals. It's time to call them at 314-474-2020. Now, if you mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk, that will get you the deal for the month of January. And here it is. Might be the best of the year. 3 rooms starting at $119, $50 off your air duct cleaning package when you mention the radio station or my name. 314-474-2020. You can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com. I've trusted Zero Res in my home for nearly a decade now. They do great work. They have awesome technicians. The customer service is amazing. You're going to be thrilled with the experience. Don't do it yourself. You're going to make things worse that way. Hire Zero Res. 314-474-2020. Online, ZeroResSTL.com. Use my name or 97.1 FM Talk. You spell it backwards or forwards, it spells the same. Zero Res.
More than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio for their news, weather, sports, and a community connection. It's the backbone of the emergency alert system. It's critical that we keep AM radio in cars, because when cell and internet services are down, this free emergency service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Do you find yourself removing your speech filter as you get older? That's today's YouTube live chat poll question. So if you do, jump on, answer yes, no, or I never had a filter. You want to go to youtube.com/@AnnieFry, and that'll take you to the live stream. Jump on the live stream in the chat. You should be able to see the poll question there. Go ahead and click one of those answers, and then comment in the chat and tell us why you voted the way you voted. That is today's YouTube live chat poll question. Do you find yourself removing your speech filter as you get older? The time is 1:47. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Not just right and left, right and wrong. We're discussing it every day on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Off my eyes, I'm exposed, and it's no big surprise. Don't you think I know exactly where I stand?
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Said that, Brad. Oh, I'm just a girl.
I know how many times I've said that.
Annie Frey's back tomorrow, so that'll be fun. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie one more time here today. If you want to find me online, Ryan Recker Radio. You see, Sean Hannity made the announcement, I'm out of here, New York. He's only talked about doing it for, I don't know, the last couple of years, but now he's gone to Florida.
Yeah,
Good for Sean Hannity, actually.
I don't blame him. I was talking to my brother the other day, and he had a friend tell him that, hey, there's lots of jobs down here. You can come stay at my place. You can live at my place, rent a room. Just move down here. It's great. And I told my brother, man, if I were in your situation, I'd be gone. I would definitely move down to Florida. But I'm not in my brother's situation, so.
Here's Sean Hannity.
And welcome to Hannity and Happy New Year and Happy Election Year 2024. Now, the exodus out of big states like New Jersey, California, Illinois, and New York, it continues. In fact, tonight we are now broadcasting from my new home, the great free state of Florida. Like so many Americans, I left New York for good and am now in the state with, let's see, warmer weather, law and order, better education, more freedom, better quality of life, and guess what? No state income tax.
Yes. If you're making millions of dollars, that no state income tax is a big deal. Much like in the city of St. Louis, we're forced to work from home during the pandemic, but we're still paying all that city tax for services that we were not getting. And on top of that, you look around and you say, man, we're paying all this extra tax to have the privilege of working in a city where we can get shot at, or my car broken into. Wonderful. And you're like, oh, okay, where's all this money going? Where's this being spent? How is that going to help anything? And Sean Hannity, I guess, when you scale that up to the tens of millions of dollars that a guy like that makes a year, that makes a pretty big difference when you can eliminate a tax that you don't really see going anywhere that could help benefit you as an individual, because there's some major issues in the city of New York and the state of New York as well. It's so good for Hannity.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the sales tax. Somebody online, this is after Shohei Ohtani signed that huge contract in California for the Dodgers. They did the math on how much he would save in income taxes over the course of the contract if he lived in Florida, which is a income tax-free state. And it was something like $41 million.
So much. Well, who was the golfer? Was it Phil Mickelson that basically said, I'm leaving California because they're taking half of all of my income? I think it was Phil Mickelson.
Yeah.
But it's no joke. And I know athletes sometimes take that into consideration on where they're going to sign, because even though it's so strange, I think this is how it works. Though he plays for a team in California, when they're away outside of the state of California, the income is taxed differently.
Yeah.
I believe.
It's taxed on where you earn the income.
Right. So even though you're playing half your games at home or whatever it is, could you imagine if he wrote the contract, I'm only going to start away games? No, but you want them to actually, well, no. I guess you're charged based on per game, not per start. So it doesn't matter. You're still going to get the same amount anyway. Start at home, don't start at home. You want to be mostly at home, I'm guessing. You want the home fans to get the most bang for their buck. One of the great arguments I saw online talking about Ohtani essentially said that if owners can afford to pay a player $800 million or $700 million, whatever the total was, then why are we still subsidizing them building stadiums in major cities? If they can pay a player that much money, then what are we doing giving them subsidies for like these giant stadiums? And I would say, I think the future of large cities giving these giant subsidies to build stadiums are limited. I do believe the tide is changing on that philosophy, even though cities want to be as competitive as they can to bring in a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunity. They want to bring, it's good to have a sporting team, and other cities will be highly competitive to bring like NFL teams in, and I'm sure they'll give everything they can for it. But look at how it burns you in this, like St. Louis is a great example. When you use it as an opportunity and build I'll build this big new stadium, we'll buy the land here and we'll negotiate this and we'll do that. And they still move out. And how much heartbreak that brings. And was it worth it in the end? It wasn't. So I think that type of mentality thought a lot of taxpayers don't want their money going to subsidizing billionaires building giant stadiums. Maybe that's a thing of the past.
Yeah. You had floated the idea that maybe, you said you were filling in South Carolina for a while.
Yeah.
And you'd floated the idea that some of the people down there were saying that the team was tanking because I guess South Carolina.
The Carolina Panthers in the NFL, yeah. Not necessarily tanking, but they were so bad, they said, you know what, they're just going to move to St. Louis anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Wow. That's wild, because I sit here and I think, and I'm like, well, does St. Louis even have the appetite? Like, I know there's an appetite for football in St. Louis. The Battlehawks prove that, and I love the Battlehawks. I don't know that I have the appetite for the NFL because I still have a bad taste in my mouth from what they did with the Rams. But would the city and the county and the local areas, would they have the appetite? Because the NFL is still very much about that game. You build us a stadium, you give us these tax breaks, and then we'll move a team to you. Does the city of St. Louis, do they do that again without the guarantee, knowing that the team could just up and leave again?
And then they fought the NFL in that lawsuit. They won. You think the NFL likes St. Louis right now? I mean, they could have gone the distance. They decided not to. They basically said, we're just going to come out ahead on this one and not take this till the bitter end. But the potential of them having the NFL to expose all their dirty secrets during this was enough for them to give up large amounts of cash. Now, like I said, lived in St. Louis for a long time. Now I live in Detroit. I've been separated for over a year without living there. Have they spent any of that Rams money yet? Is there any update on that you know, Brad?
I don't know. They're starting to look at some things, but I couldn't tell you exactly what they're doing with it. I know there's been some consternation about what the city was going to do with it, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
NFL did us dirty. The Rams and Stan Kroenke did us dirty. I think that it's a hard sell because now what you're going to do is say, hey, forget about all the dirtiness that this league did to this city. Now we want you to patronize them again and start giving them money. I think there's going to be a lot of people that will reject that idea. Mm-hmm. It's going to take a long time for that healing to happen for the NFL's welcome here. And I think that a lot of times the bitterness around that is what helped propelled fans to show that we're going to support the Battlehawks because, all the things they told us we weren't, we're not good fans. We don't show up. We don't do this. We don't do that. We're going to prove them wrong. And they did. They rallied behind it. And as it turns out, they were out there patronizing a very good team and organization, and it showed. And you know what? It shows that St. Louis can support this. If anything, I think Jane Duker mentioned this. She said more or less, maybe we should be trying to get like an NBA team as opposed to the NFL. Forget about that altogether. Go for a different league to show that this market is large enough to support another major team. And go for that as opposed to an NFL team. Maybe something like that. But we got Major League Soccer now, so maybe that sits in there in the place that the vacancy that was there.
Man, it was hard to get tickets for that this year.
Yeah.
So there's room in St. Louis for a major franchise. There is, and anybody that says that there isn't is lying to themselves. And the thing about the Rams thing that made me so upset is how they would just lie about the fan base. People didn't show up for games because you didn't have a good team. But that's true for any market in the area. You're not a bad fan if you don't want to go watch your team get their teeth kicked in every Sunday.
And there was teams in Los Angeles or these California spots, they weren't showing up and still aren't showing up. Mm-hmm. I mean, because the teams are so bad. So you even have a larger draw of people, and population-wise, a lot of people that would travel, and they still weren't coming in. So it goes to show you that St. Louis or not, you exploited this fan base. You did the fan base dirty, and they reacted appropriately for it. And as it turns out, they were wronged, and that is proven based on the multi-million-dollar checks that were written to the city based on how you left the city. All right, we have one more hour of the Annie Frey Show coming up. And I got to say, I'm having a lot of fun time doing this. And if you want to go online to the YouTube chat, you can vote in the poll. Do you find yourself removing your speech filter as you get older? Did you see that Scientology could face RICO charges? This is really fascinating development in the already controversial history of Scientology. And I haven't listened to the audio in this yet, but apparently, was there a psychic doing a tarot card reading? Is that
yeah, Waters had a psychic on.
This is so funny. I can't wait to hear this coming up after the break, too, on 97.1 FM Talk.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected. You may be entitled to a significant financial award for your Camp Lejeune claim, but you must act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune. Call now or you may forever lose your right to be awarded a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-217-1155. That's 800-217-1155. 800-217-1155.
Big news, St. Louis. McKelvey Homes is celebrating 125 years with the biggest sale of the year. Save over $118,000 on completed market homes. Plus, get a special financing offer with interest rates starting at 4.495%. Here's the lineup. 4 homes in the Preserve in St. Louis County, including a stunning ranch in the Glen Carefree Village, which includes all lawn and snow maintenance. 2 homes at Inverness and Darden Prairie, including a fully loaded display home, and 1 ranch home at Summerlin and O'Fallon. These homes won't last long. Visit McKelveyhomes.com.
Hey homeowners, it's time to transform transform your house into a masterpiece with Lakeside Renovation and Design, your James Hardie siding experts. Picture this: durable, weather-resistant siding that doesn't just protect, but elevates your home's value and curb appeal. James Hardie, the gold standard in siding, installed by the pros at Lakeside. Say goodbye to maintenance headaches and hello to a home that stands the test of time. Ready for a siding upgrade? Lakeside Renovation and Design is your go-to. Visit our showroom or call today. Unleash the potential of your home with James Hardie Siding.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Heading to the border. I'm John Saucier, Fox News. House Speaker Mike Johnson and over 50 House Republicans are in Eagle Pass, Texas today as the White House announces new border actions. Here's Fox's Peter Ducey with the latest.
He plans to reopen 4 ports of entry, 1 in Texas, 1 in California, 2 in Arizona, that had been closed because CBP has been overwhelmed by the 302,000 migrants showing up in December. The White House also wants the Supreme Court to allow feds to take down razor wire laid across the border by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. House Speaker Mike Johnson and about 5 dozen other Republicans are going to pop up at the border. The White House is saying instead of joining the Biden administration and members of both parties in the Senate to find common ground, Speaker Johnson is continuing to block President Biden's proposed funding to hire thousands of new Border Patrol agents.
Over 100 people have been reportedly killed in 2 explosions in Iran during a ceremony honoring a general killed by the United States in 2020. Here's Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
The explosions happened just minutes apart at a cemetery about 500 miles southeast of Tehran, and no group has yet claimed responsibility for the attack. It happened during an event marking the 4th anniversary of the killing of General Qasem Soleimani, the head of the Revolutionary Guard's elite Quds force, who died in a U.S. drone strike in January of 2020. Iranian state media has called the explosions near his gravesite a terrorist attack. Iranian officials say the explosives were in bags placed along the route to the cemetery as a procession of people were on their way to the commemoration. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Russia and Ukraine exchanging hundreds of prisoners of war today under a deal sponsored by the United Arab Emirates. Ukrainian authorities say 230 Ukrainian prisoners of war returned home. Russia's defense ministry says 248 Russian servicemen have been freed from Ukrainian captivity. The ministry says the deal was made possible thanks to efforts by the UAE. America's listening to Fox News.
Paid actor portrayal.
I didn't see it coming. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. The mortgage, car payments, and all the other bills. Even things like our annual summer vacation would be out of reach. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. I knew it was time to stop putting it off and get life insurance right now. I got on my computer and went to ethoslife.com. In just 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected. Thanks to Ethos, my family won't have to worry about the bills if the unpredictable happens to me.
Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's GETETHOS.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Chilly times, but lots of sunshine and light winds on this Wednesday afternoon. 42 for the high today. Tonight, partly cloudy, down to 25. On Thursday, sunshine, a chilly 40 degrees. Increasing clouds Thursday night, then Friday, clouds controlling 42. We've got a light rain mixed with wet snow at times Friday night and into Saturday morning. Fast in, fast out. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hey guys, Glover here for a brand new sponsor to the show, Master.com. That's MASTOR.com. If your phone system does not allow you to be anywhere in the world, if it is not connected to the cloud, if it is not partnered with Nuso, which is a St. Louis company and a nationwide leader in cloud-based phone systems, then you are with the wrong company. We are local, we're family owned, we're great at what we do. Once again, find us at Mastor, MASTOR.com. That's Master.com for the best phone phone service.
Hi, it's Scott and Andrea at Best Buy Flooring, sounding the alarm for all contractors. Holidays are around the corner, and we have in-stock flooring for all of your projects.
Contractor pricing for carpet, luxury vinyl plank, luxury vinyl tile, carpet tile, ceramic tile, and sheet vinyl.
2 locations to serve you, 7301 North Lindbergh Boulevard in Hazelwood, Missouri, and 1851 West U.S. Highway 50 in O'Fallon, Illinois.
Open 7 days a week.
Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring. Hurry in.
At Neovitin, we are all about supporting your nutrition, and that's why we are excited about our new Neovitin Omega-3 supplement. Neovitin Omega-3 is formulated with 1,200 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids to help support healthy hearts. Our high-quality omega-3 fish oils are sourced from wild-caught fish and tested for heavy metals. With our convenient monthly subscription, you can get Neovitin Omega-3 delivered right to your door every month with no long-term obligations. Support your daily nutrition and sign up for a Neovitin Omega-3 subscription at neovitin.com today.
Staples Print Big Sale means the more you print, the more you save. Get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. Ends 2/10/24. See staples.com/print for details. Print more, save more at Staples.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Are we one of your top presets?
You were giving off that vibe, so if you want to take it to that level.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Frey here on 97.1 FM Talk. Happy to be with you here yet again. One more hour. Annie Frey will be back tomorrow. If you want to find me on Facebook, it's really easy. Ryan Recker Radio. And if you want to go vote in the YouTube live chat poll, the question, do you find yourself removing your speech filter as you get older? For me, the answer is absolutely. I feel like I reached that threshold early. Maybe it's just a line you cross over at one point in your life. Some people, it's after a certain age. For me, I would say it was after the age of 35, 34. 34, roughly, I lost my filter, I would say. So where's that? You remove that filter, and I call it the old man filter. Maybe that's the way to look at it. You ever notice we were discussing this on the show yesterday. I think this is why Ryan Wiggins used this YouTube chat poll. The idea that when you're older, particularly grandpa age, you can get away with saying more things without repercussion because you kind of write it off as that's just him being old, saying that sort of old-fashioned thing. But I think a lot of people lose their filter in a younger age like me, and that's why I think I've always fit in better with older people. So there was a story on Deadline, and there's some other places reporting this, but the Church of Scientology could be in some serious trouble. There was a suit brought up against them, and they're proposing that they use the RICO Act against Scientology, labeling them a, quote, criminal enterprise. Wow. You remember when the idea of going after the Church of Scientology was such a scary thought?
Yeah.
Because they would send representatives to stand on the sidewalk outside of your home and watch you. They would do what they could. I mean, the furthest they could possibly go legally to stalk you. And people that left Scientology, they were, stalked for years. But I think the tide has turned on Scientologists. They're not as threatening as they used to be. And I don't know if it's just there's not as many people inside of it. But what we're seeing in cases like Danny Masterson is that they have probably hid a lot of internal crimes that have happened inside of it, much like the Catholic Church did for many, many years. They say, we'll just handle it internally. And then after a long time has passed, there was no law enforcement involved, and next thing you know, it's like 50 years later, and there's finally something being done about it. Maybe they looked at an instance of the Catholic Church and said, we're not allowing this to happen with Scientology. So now they're looking at it and saying, all these different protections you may have had, that's nonsense because you're a criminal enterprise. Pattern of racketeering activity, says the plaintiffs in the civil harassment case. I hope this goes somewhere, and this is exciting, honestly. I can't wait to see where this goes.
Yeah. Wow. Because that's impressive. Because I remember there was like a big fight for the longest time. The Church of Scientology wasn't recognized as a legitimate religious organization, therefore couldn't achieve.
It's not.
Well, yeah.
Well, the government recognizes them, but they're really not.
Well, they do now, but it took a huge pressure campaign from the church to try to get that recognition from the government because they wanted that tax-exempt status. And it was like they did some shady things, like you were saying, walked right up to the line of legality but didn't cross it to pressure politicians into doing, giving them that status. And now they're going to face RICO charges? This is wild.
So here's what the article says. Heading towards the September 2025 trial date. This is next year. It's 2024. They're looking at September 2025. That's so far away. It says, after various unsuccessful attempts by Scientology to get the 2019 filed harassment dispute by ex-members of the church pulled out of courts, December 27th filed left the amended, said the addition of the Racketeering, Influenced, and Corrupt Organization Act, RICO, basically, is legitimate because, quote, many of Scientology's criminal enterprises' money-making schemes are criminal in nature. Yes. Remember when Donald Trump said they should lose their tax-exempt status? And, people are like, okay, now he's talking some sense. Yeah. Nothing ever came from it, but, man, never too late to take this down, honestly. Is there a big Scientology building over in the West End? It was, right at the end of... where was it? It was, I'm trying to remember where that was located. Right where the trolley ended, there's a library. And, and past that, I think there was some office buildings, and then there was the Scientology building. Do you remember? Do you know that location?
I don't know it very well. I always tried to steer clear of the Scientology.
What's that called again where the trolley is?
Is it the Loop? The Del Mar
Loop? The Loop, yeah. So you go to the end of the Loop, you have Fitz's, and then the Loop kind of ends at the library, and you go a little bit further, and I think that's where the Scientology building was, essentially.
Oh, really?
Right where there was those giant lion statues. You remember going into that neighborhood? It was essentially right around there.
Okay.
And fun fact, do you know those lion statues that are right there was the model that they used for Back to the Future, for the big model of the lion statues?
Oh, for that cool. Lion Estates or whatever?
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That's wild.
So it's because the writer knew the area, of course. But I'm going to say I don't spend a lot of time in the Loop. I'd only basically go down to Fitz's because, man, I tell you what, they have the best chicken wings that they just don't get credit for. They were so good. But every time we drove by there, I got to say it was an empty building. I don't think I ever seen a car there. It's like they just own the property, which makes me wonder if you start to open up the books on Scientology, is that what you're going to find? A bunch of these empty shell building purchases used to kind of get around tax code or whatever. The more they are investigated, much like the NFL was afraid of being investigated because you would have to discovery period where they have to open up the books, and they were very much afraid what they would find during that discovery period. Do you think that's what Scientology is really worried about? The parts that they would have to disclose to the courts, and the things that would normally be kept secret are going to be out for a lot of people to see, and that's going to be the most damaging thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that most large organizations are afraid of is discovery. They don't want their secrets getting out there because I would say there's probably a huge, I don't want to say a majority, but there's probably more businesses out there than you think that not necessarily cooking the books, but using quote unquote creative accounting methods. They're working the tax laws and stuff
so
like
funny.
that.
You sound like a lawyer.
Yeah.
Creative accounting methods. Sounds like a gangster thing to say. We use creative accounting measures.
It's weird too, because you compare that to what my church is. And if I walked into my church right now and I said, hey, I want to see the books, they would open up the books and drop them right there on the table and say, there you go. Take a look at them. Don't care.
Yeah.
Have a look. This is where the money's coming in. This is where it's going out. This is what we're spending it on.
Yeah. I talk about this too. The type of church I like is the pastor that drives an old car that's got a ton of miles, and they're not going out there buying expensive watches and shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when there's a need, they'll be like, well, we could really use an alternator in the church van because otherwise we can't pick up the kids. Like that's the type of church I like because they're very transparent in the way that their money's going and how they're spending it. It's not like here comes the pastor down a zip line and he's wearing a $50,000 watch and the shoes cost more than my vehicle, type of deal. And I hate that. That's how you can tell that people are giving money to the church and it's being used for extravagant lifestyles and not helping people. Scientology, I think, is used for extravagant lifestyles.
Yes.
Are you kidding? The way that they operate and look, and that's basically their MO. They want to look rich in everything they do.
Well, yeah, and wasn't it founded like L. Ron Hubbard was a mediocre science fiction writer.
Fiction writer, yeah.
And I heard a story. I don't know how accurate this is, but I heard a story that he bet somebody that he could create a religion.
Where did you hear that? I want to look that up and find out if that's true.
I feel like I heard it on the Leah Remini specials that she was doing.
Ooh, oh, she's good. I mean, the way that she brought this out, she really took a lot of attention to what was going on. By the way, you said Waters had a psychic on the show.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I got to pull this up real quick because I haven't actually listened to this yet. Is it tarot card readings? Am I saying it?
Tarot card, yeah.
Tarot. You don't say the last T, T-A-R-O-T. Tarot card readings.
The last T
for
is
Biden
mystical.
and Trump. Okay, so the psychic pulls out a tarot card for Biden. Do you want to do Biden or do you want to do this pull
let's do
for
Biden
Trump first? Okay, let's do Biden first. This is the psychic on Fox News pulling out the tarot card on President Joe Biden. And this is to predict 2024. Is that what this is about? Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Let's see President Joe Biden. What will his year look like?
Let's look at Joe Biden. Lots and lots and lots and lots of money. Lots of money. I mean,
from China?
Oh, you are cheeky. I didn't say from where.
Lots of money.
A lot of money.
Is very interesting.
I mean, for whatever is his normal, it's way above. That's when I say lots.
Wow.
Because I deal with everybody of every possible income. So that's a lot.
All right, I'm going to put you in touch with James Comer after this reading.
This is so funny. Can I just say how awesome of an idea this is that they are on a nationally televised show on Fox News, the highest rated of the cable news networks. And he's got a time slot, and someone pitched to him the idea of bringing a psychic on to predict what 2024 is going to be like to the two top presidential candidates. And at some point, someone said, yes, let's do this. I respect that. I think it is hilarious for a segment idea. I love this.
I think there's two people on Fox that can get away with it. One is Waters, and then the other one is Gutfeld.
Gutfeld can do whatever he wants, and rightfully so. He's proven himself to be able to get away with these type of bits. Waters, love it. Okay, so the prediction is he's going to make a lot of money in 2024. Perhaps from what Jesse said, China. And now it's an election year, so a lot of money is going to be coming in. I don't believe in psychics. I think he's probably doing this tongue in cheek, right? It's not meant to be serious.
Yeah, I would think so.
Do you guys run the California psychic ads on your radio station? Do you know?
No, I don't think we do.
On the station I work for up here, they run maybe twice every 5 hours or 6 hours. Like it's every 3 hours roughly. And they run it seems like I hear them every night. And it's like, I guess there's a big resurgence in psychics right now. I don't understand it myself. I don't believe in them. I think they're all scammers. And they're just basically out there taking money from desperate people. And they are taking also money from vulnerable people who are desperate to try to get answers for things that this person definitely doesn't have the answer to. It's actually really exploitive. So again, I play these things to laugh at them. I play these things to make any point. I think Jesse's probably doing the same thing. All right, so that was Donald Trump. That was Joe Biden. You want to hear the Donald Trump one?
Yeah,
let's do that. I can't wait.
Paula Roberts is the English psychic who is on set to give us a reading right now. I would like, Paula, for you to give me a reading on President Trump.
Just the one card?
One card.
One card. Let's do just one card. We like that one.
What is that?
I like the sound of it already without even knowing what it is. You know it's a good one when you get that noise out of the psychic.
What is that?
I do recognize that I'm at Fox TV. A sense of loss. A sense of loss, but it's very specific. No, let me move on.
It's a big sigh.
It's a sense of loss. It's as if he may be thinking more about what he's lost and not still taking full advantage of what he still has.
A sense of loss. The psychic just broke it on Fox News. We have no hope. Republicans are going to lose the White House if Donald Trump's the candidate. Maybe he's not going to be the candidate, and the loss is he's going to lose in the primary. Maybe that's it.
I don't know. Maybe the loss is him he's focused too much on 2020.
The loss is that he cannot move past what happened in the past.
That's the sense of loss. So
those psychics have spoken.
Have you ever had a tarot card reading or anything like that?
No.
See, me neither. And if somebody asked me to do it, I'd be like, no, I'm good. Actually, I had somebody did ask me toward the end of the year last year, hey, do you want to come in and do a psychic tarot card reading? I was like, no, I'm not about
it's
that
so
life.
Dumb. And radio used to bring on psychics all the time. That was a really big bit for radio talk shows. And they would have their listeners call in, talk to the psychic, and it was always a huge topic. Like the phones would just light up like crazy. I remember one time I did interview a psychic, and they asked if I wanted a reading, and I said, no, you're not real. And that's how I approached it. And we had discussions. I'm like, why? And, they took it in stride. I think they're used to being insulted in that way, but I didn't care because I look at them as exploitive. And I wonder if it's still that popular. But then again, like I said, they're running those California psychic ads nonstop. They got to be still making some money somehow.
Do you remember Miss Cleo?
Yeah, she died a long time ago. Remember the story of Miss Cleo? Essentially, she was the spokesperson, but made very little money off of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's actually a shame.
I heard her organization got taken down for fraud. Like somebody prosecuted them.
Right. And she was basically just a spokesperson, the front of it. I don't think she really did much in the side of readings, but they paid her very little money and they used her image an awful lot for it. And she really did not get compensated the way she should have for that type of campaign that they were running based on her image. Real shame. All right. Well, the tarot card readings have spoken. The psychic says Joe Biden's going to make a lot of money this year, and Donald Trump will be at a loss. Oh, boy. Uh-oh, says the psychic for Donald Trump. That's the quote of the year. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in on 97.1 FM Talk.
John strikes up a conversation with a black-haired flamenco dance.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
So, you got a new gadget over the holidays. Don't forget to listen to your favorite station on Odyssey. Unwrapped a new Amazon Echo or Google Home? Be sure to tell your smart speaker to play your favorite station. Received a new Sonos speaker? Check on Odyssey on the Sonos app for access to hundreds of stations. Got a new phone? Don't forget the way you can jump to your favorite show with Rewind. No matter what you received this year, listen to your favorites with Odyssey. Download the free Odyssey app today. AUDACY.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you are retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. If you use a smart speaker, you can listen to 97.1 easier than ever. Just tell it to play 97.1 FM Talk. Or download the Odyssey app for your phone and stream the station whenever, wherever. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
I'm on Twitter right now, and I see a picture that someone tagged me on. You have some Photoshoppers in your audience. It is Radio Ice, Ice Ice Baby, and there's a picture of me as Vanilla Ice. This was from an hour ago. I missed this completely. Ice Ice Baby. And I like to wear those old man virtual reality glasses. I do like those, so I'm glad they used that photo. That works out perfect for me because that's my, like, Ice Ice Baby type of look. Thank you for that.
There he is.
All right. A few things I want to get to real quick. Isn't it great how President Joe Biden can go out there and say that he cut the national debt in half? We just hit $34 trillion for the first time.
Good grief.
It's quite pathetic of a lie to say and try to manipulate or make it sound like you are helping things. But you look at the markets right now, they're not reflecting positively to all this national debt hitting $34 trillion for the first time. And a lot of it can be credited to all of these different, debt forgiveness for student loans, some of the things that they continue to do, even though they didn't really have the authority to do, but they were doing anyway under the radar. On top of that, we had that other extra stimulus package that we knew would contribute to this, but Joe Biden really wanted to get this through because they thought it was necessary when it wasn't. We continue to see more debt racked up based on the massive amount of inflation we saw. People that notice the national debt going up is noticing their own debt going up as well. And as I am looking at the video feed on YouTube, that is a good looking cake. What is that? Are those little carrots on top, or is that just kind of the decoration of the frosting?
That's just the icing.
Take a big bite of that.
No.
Brad. Just do it.
Here you go,
Just
Leah.
do it.
Have at it.
Icing.
Yeah. You lick the icing off top? It's like my kids. You give them an Oreo, they'll lick the frosting in between the cookies, and then they'll leave the cookies.
And then they put it back.
They don't put it back. They'll just leave it on a plate. I saw someone point out online, they said, I wish I was as rich as my kids who could open up a Pop-Tart, say it looks weird, and throw it away. Like, I wish I was that rich as my. So there's Leah out there. She's licking the frosting off the cake, and she'll probably leave the cake part of the cake sitting there at the producer booth, looking at it through the rest of the night. Is that what's about to happen?
Oh no, she'll finish that cake.
It looks really good. The Gelman team brought that in?
Yeah, the Gelman team did.
for them.
Arch Bakery, something like that. I don't remember exactly.
And I keep checking New York Post. I'm waiting for the Epstein document dump. They said it was going to start today. You know, yesterday I was waiting for it, and they said it was going to come out yesterday. And then Twitter was like, well, it looks like there's another challenge to it, so it looks like it may not be till the 22nd. But now New York Post is saying it can happen at any time now. Identities of over 170 Jeffrey Epstein associates could be released today. I want to know, and so does the internet. We want to know the names on the list. While we wait for that, there was another story I noticed. How would you like to be the kids of a billionaire and realize you're not going to get any of that money? So an 81-year-old billionaire, Nicholas, I think it's Puech. He is an icon of the fashion dynasty Hermes, allegedly orchestrating a succession saga that involves adopting a 51-year-old gardener. So the gardener can get his money and not the kids.
Whoa.
He's a fifth-generation descendant, and he has a foundation of luxury fashion homes since 1837, commands a considerable share of the $220 billion valuated company, ranking among Switzerland's wealthiest individuals with an estimated worth of $10.3 billion. And allegedly, during these legal proceedings, supported by a legal team, he's formalizing the gardener's adoption in order to arrange the, to try to arrange what's going to happen with his money after he dies. This is on the New York Post. How would you like it if you had a family, let's say a parent that was a billionaire, and they were setting the stage to make sure you got no money by the time out of that $1 billion? Do you feel slighted? How would you feel? Like, does that just scream to you that there's some issues there within the family, or is that normal where you think that they were given enough through their lifetime so they don't need any more after you die?
Who was the Warren
Buffett?
Warren Buffett did something similar with his kids. Not that he wasn't going to leave them money, but it just wasn't going to be anything like what his massive amount of wealth is. It wasn't a paltry number, but it was paltry compared to what it was. And then he was just giving the rest away to charity. Yeah.
Can I say, too, it boggles my mind how some of these fashion companies can be worth billions of dollars, and it's the ugliest clothes you've ever seen. How does that work out?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
So the foundation, in a statement shared with Fortune, opposes the what they call the unilateral cancellation of the inheritance contract, signaling a potential showdown. Reports suggest that the adoption maneuver may serve as a legal tactic to preempt any interference from the foundation to try to step in for the money he doesn't want to give to the rest of the family.
Man, what is going on in their lives that he doesn't want to do that? I mean, maybe it's altruistic. Maybe he's like, hey, you getting this money isn't going to be good for you, and it's better for you to have to earn your way on your own, which I can't imagine if they're the children of billionaires, they don't have some sort of business acumen or something like that they can't or haven't already earned a lot of money on their own.
Yeah, haven't you? I mean, at some point, I'm guessing his thought is that I've afforded you every opportunity anyone could ever ask for. You probably have lived in luxury your entire life. If he's 80, I'm guessing the kids are, 60, 50, 40, they're well into their adulthood. And part of it is that you had all these opportunities to make something of yourself, and you probably have benefited from my money an awful lot already. You probably have accumulated some wealth because of this wealth that I have. So you've got enough. All right, time for you to go do something with it and prove it, like I did by inheriting a company that I've had in the family for 5 generations. Wow. So given that, I think about myself. I want my kids to have everything I have. Like, I wouldn't want to give it to a stranger. Mm-hmm. That's such a strange thing. Is it just billionaires that feel this way? I would want to make sure that my kids are as best off as they could possibly be. And I would never do something to them to try to exclude them because I love them so much. I can't imagine why this guy would do something like this, honestly.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I can think of is like he knows that they're fine and they're going to be set financially, and that he just sees the rest of this as some sort of ruin. Or the other side of that is they're not fine, they don't get along, and he's like, you ain't getting my money, it's going to somebody else.
You ain't getting. You ain't getting. Yaint? Is that a new word in the English language? Yaint? I don't know about.
Been around as long
Sounds
as
like-
I've been alive.
Yaint. I like that. Well, I can tell you who's not going to get that money, Joe Biden. Or maybe he will. Maybe that's what he's setting up
That's
here.
the tarot card reading.
The tarot
There it
card
is.
reading says that Joe Biden's in for a lot of money, and this billionaire is setting up for his family's not getting the money. Could it be that Joe Biden's the beneficiary for something like this? This guy may live forever, too. It's just as bad. I don't want to say giving it to the gardener is bad, but, you know, you ever hear the stories about them leaving all their money to cats and, like, basically there's
I
a
hate
caretaker
that.
for their animals?
I hate that. It's like, to my beloved dog, I leave. And it's like, your dog wants the treats, and that's it. Just leave him some treats, and he's going to be fine.
Treats and belly rubs. That's all you need. Yeah, I don't know why they would do something like that. So we're in major debt issues, but can we just, you know, find ways to handle the debt? I know we have fun talking about stories like this Succession or whatever that's going down, but $34 trillion for the U.S. national debt right now, surpassing that. Let me play this clip for you real quick, and this is clip number 8.
The U.S. national debt has hit a new record, more than $34 trillion.
It's due to many factors, including higher borrowing costs due to interest rates and lower tax receipts.
The actual impact of high debt is debatable. Some experts believe it's a threat to the country's fiscal health, while others believe it's okay so long as the economy remains strong.
Right, this is the Epoch Times that are putting this out.
Yeah.
I don't watch a lot of their materials. Do they normally put this ominous music behind their newscasts? Does that happen?
They always, like any sort of thing like that, they'll have some sort of bed music in it.
It's very serious, you can tell, based on the music.
Either way, it's sure to become a political bone of contention.
President Biden blames GOP tax cuts on the deficit. Republicans say it's because he spent too much money. The benchmark also comes as federal spending laws are set to expire in the next few weeks. If Congress fails to pass extensions, the government could shut down.
Ooh. So the debt is there. It's at a bad time for Democrats who are trying to find ways to spend more money. This is a good opportunity to remind us that we have, and Tucker Carlson brings this up. I don't watch his show on X, but I should. But he brings this up when there's different beefs, like there's one going on between him and Ben Shapiro. And I think one of the crux of it is that Ben Shapiro says we need to help our allies in Israel, and that's a top priority. And Tucker Carlson's point is we have higher priorities here domestically in the United States. So you can point to the southern border. You can point to the national debt, for example. And until we have this put in order, then we shouldn't be sending all of this money or even discussing this money to go to these places that we're not going to benefit from, let it be Ukraine or Israel. So there's different ways to look at this and arguments to look at it. And Tucker Carlson says the most American thing you can do is take care of your country because you love your country and you want what's best for your country. So if you want what's best for your country, you have to put it first. And the national debt needs to be put back into the national spotlight. And how about that? They need to vote on a new debt ceiling here soon in passage. And what a great time for that ticking clock to just be up there nonstop in the background while they discuss these things.
Man, that is such a huge fight because it's such a partisan thing. I don't remember exactly what the philosophy is called, but there's a philosophy that the U.S. national debt doesn't matter. It has no bearing on anything. And so there are those that see that and say, well, we can spend whatever money we want. We can print whatever money we want so that we can spend it because we need to do this on these things. And then there's another party that says this absolutely matters, and it's one of the biggest drivers of inflation is the abundance of money, and it loses its value because there's just too much in the market.
Yeah, I've done that. I've had interviews, talk to different professors, and they say, other countries don't have debt ceilings, so we would be fine with just eliminating it and spending whatever we want to spend. And I can't grapple my mind around that concept because, number one, we're irresponsible.
Yeah.
And number two, we'd be spending it with no guardrails. We would be spending it in ways that a lot of people would not be happy the way it's spent. For example, if there were no guardrails, then would there be any argument to stop them from massive debt forgiveness for student loans? Some political issues, or giving an indefinite amount of money to Planned Parenthood or whatever. If we looked at that and say, okay, we can give as much money as we want to Ukraine without having to go through congressional budgeting processes or even approval. We'd be able to spend as much money on, I don't know, hush money that politicians give to sexual harassment claims that we don't see.
Hush money,
often.
slush funds.
Slush funds, yeah. So essentially what you're saying is that we could spend with immunity. And when you see the far left bringing up global warming as an example and saying that, your kids are going to burn in the future because of global warming, I think the much more realistic problem we're going to run into is the debt is going to ruin a lot of the things that we cherished growing up and being able to have some financial freedom in our lives. We're going to cause some major catastrophic financial issues that are going to hit every American home, and that's going to hit the kids a lot harder than adapting to climate change.
I mean, you're already seeing it. The numbers bear out that like it used to be that you could work a part-time job and put yourself through college. Well, that's not the case anymore. And then you look at the housing market. Well, interest rates are climbing up. Then the bottom line price of the median price of a home has just skyrocketed. And so all of these things are starting to pile up, and people are like, what's going on? And it's like, well, maybe we should start look at how we're spending funds. The two arguments, when we listened to that clip, the two arguments that the left and the right were blaming one another was, one said, well, they've cut too many taxes, and then the other side says, well, they're spending too much. And the answer to that is probably both. Like the thing Donald Trump did that raised the debt when he was there was not only did he cut taxes, he continued to spend more. So he didn't cut taxes and cut spending. You have to cut on both. You can't just cut one. And then the Democrats are just like, hey, let's just spend and spend and spend. And then they say, we'll tax the 1%, the billionaires and whatnot. You could tax them 100% of their salaries, and it wouldn't make up for the spending that they want to do. So that, I mean, that eventually that's going to trickle down to the middle class, and it's going to hollow out the middle class. And we're starting to see the beginning of that now.
Well, here's part of the problem that you find. Even some things that you think you could agree on, like infrastructure, we don't want bridges collapsing. Republicans say we're going to spend some money to make sure our bridges don't collapse. Democrats say we're going to pass trillions of dollars for an infrastructure bill, but then we're going to fight global warming with it.
Right.
And then you're like, wait a second, hold on. No. That's not the way that was meant. So, yeah, we both spend. Donald Trump may say we need to rebuild our military because, we haven't actually invested in the equipment and the people for so long. And then, Democrats will say that we need to cut military spending. So there's different ways that I think we can spend these things. But the problem you run into is that on the far left, they're using it in ways to drive up the debt. And they're doing it in ways that a lot of people disagree with the way they're doing it. Some things that would be a lot more pragmatic as opposed to stopping the inflow of illegal immigration. Democrats are saying we should spend some more money to give more benefits to people that are here illegally. So it's such a weird thing to be in right now.
Man.
We got one more segment
and that sort of thing. And they also wanted to do more lawyers too. What do they call them? Lawyers, immigration lawyers.
Yeah, California and places where they want to make sure they have, universal health care. And now we're talking about universal income, and we're talking about, forget it. It's just a whole ordeal. But we have one more segment coming up after the break. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Frey, 97.1 FM Talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
When you're buying a house and you have to secure a mortgage, of course, this is a really, really pivotal moment in making sure that you get ahead of your finances and you put yourself in a position to succeed. Now, of course, you're going to want to get the lowest rate possible, but how do you keep yourself from overspending to access that mortgage? Well, that plan starts with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage. You've heard me talk about the bagel loan, and you might be wondering, Annie, why is it called a bagel loan? Stewie called it a bagel loan for a very simple reason. Bagels look like zeros, and zeros are to remind you that you're going to pay zero in lender fees and closing costs that other lenders out there are going to charge you for. So you don't have to pay that amount of money when you go with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage. Reach out to him at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. And let him know that you are looking to get a house, and he will set you up with every detail that you need to know to understand why so many people have chosen the bagel loan, like I did. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan and MLS number 226715.
Okay, so you filed your taxes this year, but you know you have past IRS issues. And now the IRS letters are coming. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Don't ignore those IRS letters. They're important and give you rights and deadlines to defend yourself. Waiting could cause you to lose those rights. Call the Lance Drury Law Firm now and let us help you get ahead of the IRS and defend your rights while you still have time. The Lance Drury Law Firm is located here in St. Louis, so take the first step and hire a tax resolution attorney. We've made it super easy to schedule your free consultation in person, or you can do a phone call and save travel time. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call today at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at ThrottleNet. So I'm so very proud to have represented the guys at ThrottleNet for all of these years. They are the IT geniuses. George and Mike are the owners. Fantastic guys. They can do all of your IT. They can do a portion of your IT. They have the best Apple support team. Their response time is under 2 minutes. Think about that, under 2 minutes. Something goes sideways with your IT, and they are solving your problem. And they're solving your problem within 2 minutes. Now, let's talk about cybersecurity. Most companies in St. Louis don't have cyber liability insurance. You get hit, you're on the hook, you're probably out of business. With ThrottleNet, if we represent you, we protect you. The first $500,000 that someone hits you for, which isn't going to happen, but if it does, we pay it. $500,000, that's what you're covered for with ThrottleNet. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS for all the information.
As we near the end of the year, your search for a senior living community is over. Check out the newly constructed Hampton Manor of Wentzville, just north of Highway 70 at the Lake St. Louis exit. You can check them out online right now. Set your appointment at wentzvilleassistedliving.com.
YouTube live chat poll today is: do you find yourself removing your speech filter as you get older? Yes, no, or I've never had a filter. The time is 2:46. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Good afternoon. It's Mark Reardon getting ready for a Wednesday edition of the show. After Fox News, there is a fantastic spat between Jimmy Kimmel and Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to highlight it coming up.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker filling in one more time here. If you want to find me online, Ryan Recker Radio. If you want to Photoshop my face onto things like I see on Twitter now, at Ryan Recker on Twitter. So I'm so eagerly awaiting the drop of this Epstein list. Oh, I can't wait. And I'm actually a little bit jealous that Mark Reardon's going to be on the air when this list drops. So it was going to come out yesterday. Apparently there was a legal challenge, Doe 107 or something like that, or 106, I can't. But essentially one person objected. So then the judge decided, okay, while we try to sort this out, we're not going to hold up everyone else. We're going to release every other name except this one. And then on January 22nd, if the objection is not found credible or whatever, then they're going to just release it then. Everything will come out later. So we should have those Epstein names here this afternoon, and I keep searching over and over and over again, and I can't find it yet because it's not out, but it's going to be out, they say today.
Now you're going to make me speculate on who Doe 107 is.
Who is it? I
have
know.
no
I want to
idea.
find out. But I guess we'll find out sooner than later. But it's so funny. They said she in the request, I believe. So it could be a victim, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe not someone that's a perpetrator per se. Someone that was brought up as part of the celebrity list that is there. So we'll just wait and find out. It was so funny because someone pointed this out online because I think they saw the word she and then they posted a photo of Jimmy Kimmel in drag through one of the skits he had. It's so funny. All right. A couple other things. Do you see Starbucks is going to allow for the reusable cups at drive-through and mobile orders? Doesn't that defeat the purpose of mobile orders? Like, I thought it was supposed to be done by the time you get there. Like, you're going to show up with your cup in the mobile order.
I just didn't want to talk to you
it.
through the speaker.
I know. And what's the point of that? Like, you have to hand it to them. They put it in. They send it back to you. You know what I think about this is essentially them saying is, here, you do the dishes. Like, imagine going to a restaurant and them overcharging you for a plate of food. And then when it's over, they say, go ahead and take that plate home and wash it.
Yeah.
Because you brought it in yourself.
That's like some of those, like the Bread Co. by us. You order coffee with your meal or whatever, and they hand you a mug, and then you get to go fill it yourself. So then, if that's how I haven't been in a Starbucks in forever, I can't remember if that's the way it's set up. But just imagine that you're at a restaurant set up like that, and it's like, okay, you bring your own mug, you fill your own coffee, and then you go home and you wash your own mug, and then you bring it back the next time. And all they do is they provide the coffee in a pot and set it out there, and then they charge you. What is it for a Starbucks coffee? $6-7?
Straight coffee, yeah, it's something like $4 or $5, and then if you want to get a fancy coffee, it's like $7 now or something like that. It's so expensive. We during the pandemic bought an espresso maker with the milk frother, so we can make our own lattes here, and I do it all the time. I had one today, really enjoyed it. It saves me a ton of money, and it is a luxury to go to a coffee shop and order these sort of things, but I don't want these washing stations to be around that I'm going to have to take care of. It's just the dumbest idea. But I do like the idea of, let's say you have a travel to-go mug and you just want to use that as opposed to their paper cups. That's fine. Like, yeah, that works. Go ahead and use that if you want to. But it's so funny. Like, you're in the drive-thru, you're going to hand a dirty mug to them that you keep in your cup holder. I'm sure these workers just love handling with this stuff. But the workers are probably used to dealing with dirty stuff anyway because they welcome junkies to shoot up in their bathrooms because they got the needle depositories there already. I tell you about that one Starbucks I was in, I forgot which location, in St. Louis here. So I was in line, and the person in front of me, some guy dropped pills, and it wasn't like Tylenol, if you know what I mean.
Oh, no.
And I pointed it out to the worker. I'm like, hey, these guys dropped some of these pills. And they knew exactly what to do. They're like, oh, okay. They put on the gloves real quick, and they come and picked it up, and they did a quick sweep or whatever it is. And they acted like it was no big deal. And my point being is that all of these different Starbucks are trying to unionize for better worker conditions, less hours, higher pay. But I don't hear any of them saying they want to get the junkies out of their place of work. Like, that should be a priority of the union. You should be able to go into work and not have to worry about drug addicts constantly being in the same space as you. That is would be one of the priorities that apparently the workers don't really care about. They just want to be able to wear their, gay pride flag pins or whatever without getting harassed, and they're wanting less hours. They don't want to cry. They want the freedoms and to go through an entire, a 4-hour shift, because I think that's about the most that they can handle behind the espresso machine or whatever. So that's the kind of stuff that they fought for a union, but not the, safe working environment. Universal overtakes Disney as highest grossing studio in the 2023 box office. South Park did that whole thing on Disney. You remember how they did the Kathleen Kennedy?
The Panderverse.
The Panderverse. That's so funny. I think a lot of people are recognizing this. If that isn't enough for Disney to wake up and realize their movies are bombing and people are just having this fatigue over the same superhero stuff that they thought would make $1 billion every time they put out. Instead of putting out good content, they were just putting out what they thought was safe content that people would go spend money on. When that doesn't work anymore and they realize that the Super Mario movie or Oppenheimer or Barbie, these type of movies that their competitors are putting out that people really like and enjoy are the ones that are making money, they got to have a real day of reckoning at Disney, because in the pipeline, they just got a bunch of the same old junk that people are going to scarcely see in the future unless their plan is to just stream everything And that's the end game, is just to stream as much as you want and then just take over the home television and give up on the box office as their main draw. Otherwise, Disney could be in some serious, serious trouble here in the future.
Well, the problem is they're not having much success with Disney Plus with the streaming service. It's underwater as well. So
the streaming services?
Yeah, it's not a cash cow. It's a drag on them, and that's why they're talking about combining with Hulu and all these other things to try to expand their library and get more people to view it. You know, you see them. I think they're recognizing there's a problem because they had that whole snafu with the Snow White movie, the live-action Snow White, and it was supposed to release, I think it was this last year, toward the end of the year, this last year, and they went back and they did rewrites on it, and they're doing reshoots, and it postponed the movie for over a year.
Oh, yeah. And what was the movie that they filmed and never put out? Didn't Disney have one of those too? It was Snow White. Is that done? They just haven't released it yet?
No, they're reshooting it. They're
reshooting it, yeah.
They're doing reshoots on it. Massive reshoots.
Massive reshoots, yeah. I thought it was just shelved. I guess not. Yeah, I got them mixed up there. Now that you say that, it makes sense. And then there was a Netflix. They filmed this sci-fi show that never delivered, and they spent, what was it, $400 million or something crazy on that. Oh, boy. This is what a time to be alive. And on top of that, I consume less and less. Like, I find myself not enjoying anything that comes out. Even the things I thought I would enjoy, I don't enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But did you see, I saw that one person was touting the success of other type of alternative films that have been getting more attention, like The Sound of Freedom. Did you ever see that one?
I did. I saw it in theaters. It's
How
on
was it?
Amazon Prime now.
Yeah? Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. I thought it is not a big conspiracy theory movie. It is a very well-told story about a man who rescues children out of a sex trafficking ring.
Oh, according to Joe Biden, that doesn't happen, so you don't have to worry about it. No such thing as sex trafficking at the southern border or anything like that. But let's say that hypothetically there was. So is this accurate? Have people looked at this and said that this sort of thing does happen?
Well, it's based on a true story. I mean, the guy that is the main character is a real guy, and he goes around and gives speeches and talks about that.
Apparently number 10 for the year for the total grossing over $184 million. Sound of Freedom fell behind John Wick, Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, Indiana Jones. Both of them fell under $180 million total gross. So good for them. And congratulations on the success there. Brad, thanks for making this so easy. I always have a fun time when I get to fill in for Annie Frey.
Thanks for filling in.
And hopefully we get to do it again sometime soon. Thanks for all the messages that came in. I'm on Facebook, Ryan Recker Radio, if you want to look me up on there. Just message me on Twitter. Something like that would always be good to connect. And Annie Frey will be back again tomorrow. Mark Reardon coming up next, 97.1 FM Talk.
You won't believe. So kick out the jams, kick up the soul, pour another glass of that rock and roll, turn up the band, find the hole, gonna lose control tonight. What do you want?
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, with an auto warranty about to expire, or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-674-2189 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low.